How are you guys?
Life. Yeah, how is everybody?
Welcome to a spooky episode.
What's a spooky sound?
Whatever the fuck you just made was.
That was not a spooky sound. I think I was gonna go ooh.
Demon House, I'm gonna head out for that part. Bro, listen. This entire episode is full of spooky shit. If you got I don't know much about the Demon House. I've seen it on I know Zack Bagins bought it. I've seen it on his show. I've listened to a podcast on it, but I haven't done research, and I'm pretty excited. I don't fuck with demons. Logan, you shouldn't fuck with this episode then.
Who does though?
Yeah, who does fuck with
hey,
demons?
Demon, come on in. What the fuck? Shut up, Logan. Oh, jeez.
So the audio is good for you guys? I sound good?
Of course Lou fucks with demons.
Fat Corn Scout, thank you guys so much for the hosts.
Ooh.
Oh, let me turn off my thing. Lou, thank you for the host.
These hosts.
So many of them.
People really like you.
Apparently.
Doesn't that feel good?
I don't know.
We hadn't even started talking. It was almost up to 10 viewers.
It was weird, yeah.
Why? We're weird. No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Yeah, so.
Go ahead.
Let's go. Let's get started.
We're gonna do it?
Yeah, you want me to go first?
Yeah, so obviously, Mama is covering the Demon House of Gary, Indiana. I'm covering the Skinwalker Ranch. We both have... Oh, Fat Corn! Thank you for the resub! I think the word shoe is really funny. Shoe does look like it looks like a shoe when you think about it. The word shoe. Yeah, it looks like the word... Okay. Hi guys, we're back. Thank you for being patient.
Hey.
If there are any more audio issues, please let us know. I'm going to switch over to Scout. Thank you for the host. I'm going to switch over back to OBS. So, I will be chatting off my phone, but Mama will be going first. She's covering Gary, Indiana.
Oh, yikes.
Thank you guys for sticking around. Okay, take it away.
All right. So, disclaimer. We all know Sandra's better with words and stories than me, so...
That's a full lie. Also, if you guys have any questions or anything, please comment in chat.
Yeah.
We are not experts on everything, but we will try to explain it. If audio or anything goes funky, please let us know. I think I figured it out, knocking on wood. There isn't any knocked on wood.
Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear that.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So.
All right. So, yes, first up is the Demon House. It's also got a couple other names too. There's, I think it's the House of 200 Demons or something like that is another name. And I actually have I know why they call it that. Casual
200, House 200 Demons.
Oh, well, I'll explain why they say that. And then the last name of the family that was haunted there or possessed, we don't know. We're just going by what we were told. But it's called the Ammons haunting, or AMMONS. So yeah. Anyway, but I know it as the Demon House. And fun fact, it's about 2.5 hours away from where I live in Gary, Indiana. So, well, I can't because it's actually demolished. So he took parts of
I totally just muted myself on stream. Sorry, continue.
So he took parts of it. Anyway, you're getting ahead of yourself because I'm
going
to talk about that. Anyway, so a little backstory. I actually have even the full address of the house, which is crazy that you could find it that easy, but I could. And I used that so I could figure out like when the house was built.
The house was born.
When the demons were born.
Oh God.
Yeah. So the house actually wasn't that old. It was built in 1926. So when you hear a lot about hauntings and like demons and stuff, it's usually like really old houses, like even like built really long time ago, or like something happened on the land, and I couldn't find anything like that. And also, I looked to see if there was any other like sightings or experiences that anybody else had in this house, and there were none. So you got to take that into consideration. Like, this is the only family that it happened to while living in this house.
So it's more
And
like a family possession than a house possession.
but it's not. When you kind of listen, like when we go through the story, they don't bring it back to the family. Well, actually, that's a lie. There is something that might bring it back to the family. So yes, you could be right. All right. So, oh wait, is it working?
Yeah, you're just popping a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's just on my end.
Oh, can you
I
guys? Am I popping for you guys? See, hold on. Let me turn my fan off because that might be it. I I actually ordered a headset for my laptop and I just didn't get it yet. So right now I'm using my earbuds for my phone.
It could also
Is
be the ghost Mama has in her house because she does have one.
I for sure have a ghost.
But right
So
now
yeah.
I'm monitoring audio levels and everything. So hopefully things work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I sound better now, or do you still hear the popping?
It's not like a constant popping. I think it happens more when you peak, like when you hit the yellow and red, but that is also like
Oh,
something
because
that
I'm
just happened.
loud. Well, then that makes sense because that's how Discord is.
Yeah.
I'll try not to yell. So anyway, it was a very small house. So I think, yeah, the picture on the screen right now, that is an actual picture of the demon house in Gary, Indiana. Um, it's, you can tell, very small. It was 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and it had an unfinished basement,
Oh
and
shit.
it was 864 square feet. So really, really small house. And
It looks kind of big on the in the photo.
really,
Like from the
oh, you know
angle, I
why?
think.
Well, and also to the right where the tree is, that's like the house next door.
Oh, okay.
So it's making it look bigger. I just realized
Got
that.
it.
I probably should have tried to find a better picture.
Oh, no, it's good. It's
But
all right.
yeah. So and you could see it's a little rundown. I mean, if anybody knows where Gary, Indiana is, it's not the greatest of cities. So yeah, it's very close to Chicago. So yeah, so basically we're going to be talking about the house and what happened to the Ammons family, and then a little bit of when Zack bought it and what happened when he did his like documentary. But um I really couldn't find anything else. So it was kind of like, ugh, because when you hear about ghost stories or demons or possessions and stuff like that, you're like, oh, well, then what else happened here? Because that's normally the case, but there
Yeah.
wasn't anything else. So anyway, so it was Latoya Ammons, and then her mother Rose, and then Latoya's 3 children. They were 7, 9, and 12. It was 2 boys and a girl. They moved in to the house in November of 2011. So everything started happening only a month after they moved in there, basically. So like a lot of people are very skeptical about this family, and I'll kind of get into that later too, saying that like it was made up and it was lies and all of that, but it happened. Oh, and they were saying that they were doing it to get out of the lease, but they literally just moved in November. So to me, that right there makes no sense, because if you moved in November and it starts happening in December, like, why are you trying to get out of the lease that fast? Like, I just, it just doesn't make sense. But listening to the story, and I think you guys will too, I could see why people question it, but it's crazy though. Some of the witnesses' stories. So basically, like I said, it started in December. So one month after moving in, and it started with flies. Yes, you know, the infamous flies, swarms of flies all over the place. But this actually was happening in the covered porch. So, like the little front of the house right there, where it's like that screened in part with those windows, that's like a porch that's closed in. So, supposedly, they were big, huge black flies that they would get rid of. They would do like, put down like fly traps and stuff to make the, yes, it is like the Annabelle house. They would like get rid of them, Latoya and Rose, and they would just keep coming back. Like nothing they would do would make them go away. And it was weird too because a lot of people say it was December and like it's really really cold in Indiana in December and January
So like
most
no
of the
reason
time.
for flies to be around.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. But again, that is like something you hear with a lot of places, that are supposedly haunted or whatever. Um, but so that was the first thing that happened. So that's not too bad. It's whatever. But then all of a sudden, right after the flies, they started hearing footsteps and stuff in the basement. And they would hear like something that sounded like an animal growling in the basement as well. And so they would
Casual.
go, yeah. So the first night that it happened, they actually thought that they were being, that somebody was breaking in and was trying, they were, somebody was gonna do something to them. And I didn't get this for sure, but it seemed like to me that the kids were all in one room and Rose and Latoya were in the other room. And the reason I say that is because when you read the story about when they thought they were getting broken in, it talks about Rose and Latoya like were staying in the room and were scared to go out at first, but then they finally went out. Um, and so they went down to the basement, like they turned on the lights and there was nothing. They didn't see anything, they didn't hear anything, whatever. So they actually bought a lock for the door from the kitchen to the basement. And even after they bought the lock, they could still hear people opening something, walking up the stairs, walking around down in the basement, opening the door and shutting the door.
That's
And
terrifying.
yeah, and they would go and make sure that the door wasn't locked, and make sure it wasn't the kids, and it still would be locked and there would be nothing out there. So that was kind of like, the second thing I was kind of freaky, and they were like, whoa, this is escalating a little bit or whatever. So then I don't remember if it was Latoya or Rose, but one of them actually said that they woke up in the middle of the night and they saw a man pacing in their room. Well, like a figure, like a shadowy figure
I
of a
hate
man.
that
Yeah.
so
Um
much.
But the thing is it what's weird to me though is like it didn't do anything, and they actually said they saw it a few times, but like that was it. They just saw it and that was it. They don't really go into if anything happened after, how long it was there, what it did, or you know what I mean? Like so I couldn't find anything on that. It just literally said that they found that they saw this shadowy figure um in their room walking around. So that was going on. And then the grandma and some of the kids had said that they had were choked by something like numerous times. And there was like in March, I think it was. Hold on, let me look at my. Yeah, in March there was a death in the family, and a bunch of their family had came over to the house, and the kids were in the bedroom and they were trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden they hear like a scream from the bedroom, and the grandma runs into the bedroom and turns on the light, and as she runs into the bedroom she like sees the granddaughter like fall down onto the bed. So like she didn't necessarily see her in the air floating, but like she's seen her from high above the bed fall down into the bed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, so they asked the cousin, and the cousin said that she basically was levitating above the bed, and until the grandma came in and turned off the light. And I guess also on that night, one of the kids got thrown into like the kitchen, like into the refrigerator or something. And then it said that one of the kids got grabbed and pulled off of the couch by something.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It makes me
So,
wonder why they're still there.
well, they're not. Well, okay.
So
So,
at that
but
point
this is
they'd
the
have
thing.
left?
No. You're right. At this point, they were, but you have to remember this is March, and so this started
That's
in
true.
December. So it's not that far. And like another thing is like Gary, Indiana is not. It's like a poor town. So and I don't know if something like that was happening with me, if I'd be able to just move, because it's actually really expensive to move.
Yeah, that's true. You
So,
always see, like,
because
in
a
the
lot of
movies, like, people are like, well, if it's that haunted, you can just move on. Like, well, sometimes
no.
you can't afford it.
Exactly. Like it's expensive to do a down payment, and if you're in a lease, you have to pay to break that, and like
Yeah.
that's not easy. Because like I did as I was researching, I saw a lot of people saying that why didn't they just move as soon as it started happening and blah blah blah. Well, for one, when the stuff first starts happening, you have to think to yourself, is this in my head? Because when stuff started happening around my house, around my family, I'm like, this shit's in my head. And
Yeah.
then for two, it's expensive. You can't just get up and go and just move somewhere just because you want to. Like that's just not real life.
Yeah. And, like,
So,
with having kids, I'd assume it's always, like, if something happens to one kid, it's kind of like, you have to, like, wonder, like, are the kids just messing with each other and they're making stuff up, or...
yeah. The only reason you can't say that though either is because stuff happened to the mom and the grandma.
Oh,
So it was
right.
like the things were happening to the family. And another thing people got to think about is they were living in it's five people living in a 2-bedroom house. Like obviously they don't have money to just get up and move.
Yeah.
So, and I've been there, so I totally understand it. Um, so yeah, so after this, let's just say they weren't having any more gatherings or parties because people were refusing to come over. Like they were like, we will not come into your house. Basically, the family, because the family was there that night when it all happened.
So, it was other
Um,
people have seen it too then.
yeah.
Okay.
So the cousin seen the levitating, um, the family that was there, and I couldn't find like who exactly was there. That's what's so weird about this story too, is it actually was it was harder to research than I thought it would. Like
I
I thought
felt the
I
same way with my story. I thought I was gonna find a lot of information, and it took a while.
yeah. It's like some of the stuff you would find, it was like, is real? And I'm not gonna say anything unless I know for sure it's facts. So
Yeah.
I don't know like how many people were there and how many family members were there, but family was there and they definitely saw the things that happened all that night. Like the kid getting yanked off the couch and the kid getting thrown into the fridge, and then the cousin said that she saw the daughter, Latoya's daughter, levitating above the bed. Um so after this happened, they were really like, okay, we got to figure something out, which wouldn't anybody.
Mhm.
And so they actually went to a lot of churches that were nearby their house to see if anybody would come and try to help them come to the house, or, like take a look and see what was going on. And no one would help. So basically, all the churches around them were like, no. They either just thought they were crazy or they just were like, we're not equipped for that. So finally, though, they did find a local small church that agreed to visit the house. So there was a minister that came to visit the house. And when he was there after he left, he said that it for sure was filled with spirits. He didn't say bad spirits, he didn't say good spirits, but he said that it was filled with spirits. So, yikes.
Very
Like,
ominous too.
could you imagine somebody coming to your house and be like, "Oh yeah, there's spirits here." You know,
Yeah,
like
that
this that's crazy. I just couldn't even imagine. Um so this is funny to me, which is stupid, but the minister basically just like told them to like do a deep cleaning using like bleach and ammonia. First off, I would be fucking screwed because I'm allergic to bleach. So if that's how you get rid of
apparently the
demons.
ghosts are too. Fuck,
So
been
if
doing
I
it
a
wrong.
demon? I'm a demon.
Holy water is like really just bleach.
It's just bleach. Like literally when I read that, I laughed out loud. I was like, "What?" Because but you know what? They had no idea. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
And it's like
but
a small church too. Like
yeah.
a lot of like so fun fact, to get an exorcism, your church, the local or main town or main city church has to get approval from the Vatican, which
Yeah.
is why a lot of exorcisms don't. It's not like you can't go down the street to your church and be like, "Hey, I need an
Yeah.
exorcism on my house," because like the Vatican has to approve it.
Yep. And they actually have to have like
Nicole.
a trained what is it? A trained priest that is able to do it. Like you can't just go to any priest
Yeah, it has to be someone
and
who's like,
get it. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, so after they did their deep cleaning with their bleach and ammonia, I guess that didn't work. So
I
they
wonder why.
decided.
I wonder why that didn't work. Holy
I
shit. It
just,
was
I'm telling you,
foolproof.
when I read that, I laughed so hard. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" But whatever makes you feel better. If that makes you feel better, and then too, I kind of thought to myself, was the minister just being
Just
like
fucking with them.
yeah, like was he just saying, okay, yeah, there's spirits here, this is what you do, just to like appease them or something? I don't know. It just seems so weird to me. I
If
need to
I
look
went to
up.
a minister, if I went to a church and that's what they told me to do, I'd be like, okay, no. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen enough horror movies to know that that doesn't work.
Like
Unless we're
what the
burning this
fuck
shit
is
to the
bleach gonna
ground.
do?
Yeah,
Exactly. I'm gonna drench it with bleach and then catch it on fire. Okay,
that might
cool.
work. Or it might fucking get the city on your ass for burning your house down.
Yeah. Then there's another problem. And then you just let all the demons out and they're all over the town. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
So what we were talking about with the 200 demons, the reason it has that name as well is because they decided that they were going to have two clairvoyants come into their house and take a look at it. So the clairvoyants said that there was an infestation of over 200 demonic spirits.
I don't know if you're gonna
How
cover it
how do you know that?
later on, but I think it was in the Ghost Adventures episode, or it might have been the podcast I was listening to. But one of them mentioned that there was a portal underneath the house.
Okay, so
Oh, you're gonna get to okay. Spoiling shit. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
My bad. I got
So,
excited.
um, yeah. So they basically told them to make an altar in the basement
Ew.
because so there was like this section in the basement that the cement was broke and it was a dirt
The
patch.
what?
Yeah, like the cement was broke
Oh, the
and
cement. Oh,
cement,
Lou, thank you for giving Urine a gift sub.
cement, whatever.
You were
Anyway,
saying cement, but I thought you were saying semen.
I was so. Oh, I
Lou,
don't know.
thank you again so much for gifting Urine a gift sub. I
Ooh,
appreciate you.
and also hi everybody. I feel
Hi,
like I
everyone.
haven't been able to say hi. Um, so yeah, that's where they're saying the portal was, or there was a situation or whatever. Also, let me not get ahead of myself. Um, so they told them to make an altar in the basement. I don't know of what or whatever or why, but obviously that's what they did. And Latoya took sage all around the house to try, and as she was going around the house, she was doing Bible verses. Who's
That's not gonna
Jessica?
piss anything off.
Well, that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to get rid of them, which they're already pissed because you put bleach everywhere.
Yeah, so fun fact, completely side note, if you guys are trying to get a ghost or a demon out of your house, don't piss it off.
Yeah,
That's a
piss.
very bad thing to do. Please don't piss it off.
Please just don't do that.
Avoid that.
Just do like me. Be friends with the ghost.
Also,
Be friends.
complete side note, if you do have a ghost or whatever in your house, the more attention you give it, the more powerful it becomes. So either ignore it or try to be friends with it, but don't piss it off. You're gonna end up in an
I think
episode
someone's
of Ghost Adventures if you do that.
Yeah, I think someone in chat earlier said though, most from what we know as a ghost and what we hear, most. Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, did you unplug your headset?
Yep.
But yeah, most ghosts and spirits are friendly. I did wanted to cover the whole like time loop thing of ghosts, but we can do that next episode, like the different types and shit. But
Oh yeah.
because I love this stuff. But
Yeah, me too.
okay,
Me too.
sorry to like
So
completely
good.
sidetrack.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I get overly excited. The ADD comes out, and I just want to talk about it.
So yeah, so they did the sage with the reading of the Bible verses, and then they took the Bible down to the table where the demons were manifesting because of the ground being broken and the dirt showing underneath. Because it's not just because the house wasn't kept up. It was because it was a demon portal, obviously.
Obviously.
So, and also it said that they walked around with the sage dressed in white. Why? I guess because that's a godly color.
I think white has always been seen as like a pure color, but
That's so ridiculous. But like that actually kind of pisses me off.
it is very I don't know how much it helps. Again, we're not professionals or anything. I feel like we should put a disclaimer.
Definitely.
You got a demon possession? Don't hit us up. Hit up your local church.
Or hit us up so we can come and videotape and shit, and then we could do a live podcast.
That would be cool. We already have enough.
I'm down.
We have enough problems with this shit. Maybe the ghost is like a tech junkie. Maybe they can help us out.
Right. Oh, shoot. Wait, if you want to get rid of a ghost, get yourself some fresh flowers. I thought that then they like kill the flowers. I've seen that in something before.
I have never heard of that before.
Anyway, so
it makes sense, though.
Yeah.
They don't like that type of flower.
Yeah, right. That's true too. What type of flower?
Maybe they just don't like fucking tulips. You gotta get them daisies or something. Maybe they're allergic. Maybe that's why.
Maybe like sunflowers are too bright, so they don't like those.
Maybe.
Because they're like yellow, the sun.
Maybe
we got
it's
it
pollen.
now.
You know what? We've solved it.
Everybody get
Zack,
sunflowers.
are you listening? Hello?
Put the sunflowers in your fucking mouth.
Vatican, are you listening? We solved your problem. Sunflowers, dude.
God, we're geniuses. No wonder people
geniuses,
listen to us.
Dude. Are you kidding?
Oh my god, I'm dead. So after they dressed in white and did the Bible verses and put the altar downstairs over the, broken pavement or whatever, cement.
Cement.
That's how I say it. I'm probably like the only person that's like that.
You're 100%. I've never heard anyone else call it cement.
Whatever. Anyway, let's move on. So this actually seemed to work for a few days. And then all fucking hell broke loose. So
literally.
It seems like the demons were like, oh yeah, watch this after we take a short weekend getaway.
They're like, we're gonna let them chill for a little bit.
Right.
And then as soon as they get comfortable, like, bitch, you thought.
they took a romantic getaway to the
They went to
deepest
Fiji.
part of hell.
They went to hell's version of Fiji. They had a few
They
pina
came-
coladas, and they came back. They're refreshed. They're ready to go.
It's just so funny to me because, like, why? Where did they go for the few days? But whatever.
Listen, they had to charge their phones or something.
To each their own. I mean, I guess they do need a vacation too.
Maybe it was a
You're
holiday.
right.
Oh shit! Ames!
Ray!
Hi, Raiders! Ames, thank you so much for the raid.
Hey, y'all!
Can someone please shout out Ames? How was your stream?
Was she playing Oogly or Oobly or
I
Oobly or
believe so. Yeah, Ooblets.
what's it called? Ooblets.
Started with Animal Crossing and we raided with Nicole, I believe, just as we actually started Ooblets. So hello, Raiders. My name is Sandra, aka Poxi. Usually I'm playing video games, but tonight I am doing a podcast with one of my best friends, Jessica, or Mom Marcus, and
Episode 3.
Episode 3. And usually our podcast topic is just it's like a talk show type thing. Whatever topic we come up with, we talk about. Tonight's episode is all things spooky. Mama is covering the Demon House of Gary, Indiana, and I am covering the Skinwalker Ranch. And we just started with the Demon House. You didn't miss much, just that there's a lot of demons. And if you have a problem with demons in your house, try sunflowers.
Sunflowers.
That's that on that. But Ames, thank you so much for the raid. If you guys aren't following Ames, please follow her. She is such an awesome streamer. Met her through, I believe, Nicole, Magma Kitty Live.
Yep.
And she's been playing Ooblets, which is it's like if Animal Crossing had people, I think. It's it's such a pretty game to look at.
Yeah, it's cool. Also, just so you guys know, you did miss that ghosts need vacations too. So don't get mad if they stop haunting
if
you for a few days.
If your house is haunted and the ghosts go away for a couple days, don't get upset. We all need a vacation. We all gotta go to Fiji every now and then. Connecting people since 1818. There you go. And Lou, thank you so much for shouting out Ames. And thank you again for the 100th time for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Enjoy, grab some snacks, get a drink. It's gonna be a spooky episode.
All the food.
All the food. Bring some to share. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, after the demons came back from their vacation, they said that there was numerous things that were happening, and I guess it affected all 3 of the children a different way. One of the children was supposedly had an imaginary friend.
Casual. The second my kid comes up to me like, "Mommy, I have an imaginary." No, the fuck you don't.
Yes.
You're
gonna go live in a fucking church now. You better leave that friend outside.
And it would make him come into the closet to play with it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The imaginary friend. And he would go in there and then come out talking about death, and like the demon or the imaginary friend knew about death and what dying felt like and all this stuff.
Fuck no. Did you have an imaginary friend, real quick?
No. I never had an imaginary friend.
I don't think I did either.
Normal. Yeah, is that normal? I feel like it's actually normal for people to have an imaginary friend.
Oh, I forgot to ask. Do you believe in ghosts? Chat and Jessica, do you guys believe in ghosts?
It's so hard for me because I think a lot of you might know this, but I actually
Nicole's comment.
What'd she say?
She had an imaginary dog. I had an imaginary pet too. Okay, sorry, continue.
I always had pets, so I never had to have imaginary.
Oh, I only ever had like little birds, like fish, but they were never fun.
Oh yeah, we had birds, we had cats, we had dogs, we had gerbils, we had hamsters.
So sidetracked so quickly.
That's okay. They like it. That's why they come. Because we're crazy.
True.
The imaginary friend was gay. It lived in the closet.
Okay, but yeah, do you guys believe in ghosts? If so, have you had an experience that made you believe, or is it just something that you kind of always believed? Personally, I do. For those who know me, I am not very religious. I do believe in like the spiritual shit. And that's that on that. I think it's there.
Yeah.
What about you, Jessica?
I believe in it too, but it is kind of different for me sometimes, like with the whole demon or bad or good, because I don't necessarily, like, I'm not religious. I don't necessarily even believe that there is a God per se, if that makes sense, like it's so weird because like I've had experiences with something like
Yeah.
numerous times. My whole family has. And at first I thought I was crazy because you're like, well, I don't even believe in like an afterlife, but there's something happening here.
Yeah, no, I get that. I
So
totally get that.
it's so weird, but like I do believe there's something happening, but I just don't know exactly what or where it's coming from. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. My thing is, I have more of a for me, it's easier to believe in something is actually out there, ghost, whatever. It's easier for me to believe in that than it is for me to believe in there being nothing there. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And I guess that my main thing is it's like I don't know if there's nothing there. I just don't believe in this. There's like a one individual,
Yeah,
one being that did all stuff and like how people believe in everything that was written in the Bible. Like I don't know, which that's a
that's a
whole
whole nother.
nother
No, but
episode.
I totally understand. I get your point. I derailed us so bad. I was just curious because we didn't. I forgot to like say that at the start. But
Yeah, oh yeah.
back to the house of 200 demons and the people who like pissing them off.
Yeah. All 200 of them
All
with
200 of them.
bleach and sunflowers. No. So yeah, so I had the imaginary friend. The other one, one of the kids, one of the boys would just like speak weird languages, tongues, I guess they call them, and they would he would like growl like an animal and like get really like angry and just like be very mean.
I would send my kid back to Bosnia. Like that's you go back to you go. They need to deal with you. Fucking work the demon out of you. Fuck pet shit.
Yeah. Oh wait, has contributed 4,000 Poxy points sold to the IRL stream challenge. What's that?
Who did that?
Tater.
Oh, Tater. Thank you for that. Oh, and also somebody Fat Corn. I think maybe did it earlier. I forgot who contributed, but thank you. I appreciate it. It's like if I get a certain, I think it's 100,000 Poxy points, I will do an
Hmm.
IRL stream.
Oh.
I don't have my because having my browser open at the same time as having OBS open kind of messes with it, so I don't have that open. So I'm
Gotcha,
sorry if
gotcha.
I missed anything. I'm literally looking off my phone and off OBS. So if I missed anything, please let me know. But thank you for that. Okay, continue. No,
Yeah,
no more
sorry.
sidetracking.
And then everybody in the family basically said that they would have these moments of being possessed, and like whoever wasn't, like the other people watch them, and their eyes would roll back in their head, and they'd kind of basically just like pass, and then they would just wake up and had no idea like that they were possessed or whatever.
Uh,
Yeah. So, um, after all this was happening, after the again ghost went on vacation, um, and they oh yeah.
do you think they have their own I said no more sidetracking, but I have a question. Do you think the
No, you're
ghosts
fine.
who went on vacation, do you think they have their like ghost boats? Or, like ghost planes? Do they have to pay with like ghost tickets?
No,
Sorry.
because like they're fast, right? They can just
They
go
just
really
teleport?
fast wherever they need to go. Yeah, that's what I
Huh.
would think.
Okay.
That's oh, ask me anything.
Is this distracting?
um,
Back on it. Okay.
so after all of this, like, and oh, and again, they would be thrown around. The daughter got attacked by a headboard and had to get stitches from the headboard, and um, they would be thrown around the house and attacked by things. they would hear the voices and all of this. So finally, they went to their doctor, basically, their family physician. Again, what are they going to do? But I guess you're at a loss. So what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, at that
So,
point, like, I wouldn't know what to do.
right. So they went to the doctor, and the doctor had examined them or whatever, and he put in his notes that they were delusional, basically. Um, so they ended up in the hospital. Like, they went to the hospital because I'm trying to remember what happened. I could have actually, when they went to the hospital, I couldn't figure out exactly why. I don't know if it was because of the headboard incident or like something else, but they were at the hospital and DCS was called. Um, which is DCS is like Child Protective Service. So CPS as well.
Okay.
I think every state has Child Protective Services, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So they were called into the hospital, and there was a worker. What do they call
A
it? A
worker of the
caseworker.
hospital. Oh,
Caseworker.
I'm like, a
Jeez.
worker of the hospital? You mean a doctor?
um, no. So a caseworker from CPS came, and there were some medical staff, and there are reports that the first CPS worker, and the medical staff, like, have written down to where things happened as well. So the kids were like doing their thing that they do. They were growling, acting very, insane, and yelling and cussing and
Very
throwing
acting
themselves on the
very
ground.
animalistic.
Yes, exactly. And at one point, one of the boys, and this is written and said to be true.
Oh, I know what
One
you're
of,
about to say. Okay, sorry.
one of the boys walks up the wall and like walks onto the ceiling and then just like jumps down and lands on his feet.
That's why that entire story is so crazy to me, because it's one of the only, like, fully documented cases of actual paranormal stuff happening that's been documented by, like, actual, like,
Yeah.
officers, like, police, caseworkers, doctors, like,
Yeah.
that's insane. Okay,
It's
sorry.
so crazy though, because like,
How do you explain
well,
that?
it's not really crazy. A lot of people that they were around would say yes, they saw things happen, but then there was a lot of people that they were around that were like, nothing happened. They're just crazy. So,
It makes you wonder if, like, the spirit or the demon or whatever could, like, manipulate what certain people saw. So, like,
maybe.
if the kid went up the wall, if one nurse saw the kid crawling on the wall and spitting out Latin, while the doctor just saw the kid fast asleep on the bed, and meanwhile the nurse was freaking out next to him. Or maybe he didn't
Well,
even
and
see the nurse freaking out.
Well, it wasn't really like that. Like, they would just, when they were with different people. So like, everybody that was in the room when he walked up the wall. Oh, and here's another weird thing that I found out that I never known before. When he walked up the wall, he had grabbed his grandma's hand and held onto his grandma's hand the whole way, walking backward and then up the wall and then onto the ceiling and then jumped down. And the whole time he had his grandma's hand.
I don't remember. Like I've said it before, I've heard this case on on a few shows and podcasts. I've never heard that part. That
Yeah,
is
like,
insane.
and it was reported by like the family.
Why? I wonder why he grabbed do they say
I don't
why?
know, not at all. It just says that's what happened.
That is
And
fucking
so I think at
crazy.
that point it was like a caseworker and two medical staff that were in the room, and they all three for sure saw that happen.
They all went
Um,
home. They all went outside and smoked a huge cigarette, questioning their lives.
um, while they were in the hospital, one of the kids had to be held down by five men.
Jesus.
Five men.
A
Um,
child.
and remember, these kids are 7, 9, and 12. And the boys are the two younger. So the boys are 7 and 9. So I don't care. You're not that strong at 7 and 9. You're
Yes,
just
there's
not.
should be no reason for having to take
Mm-hmm.
five fully grown men to control a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Also, one of the brothers tried to strangle the other, and like they had to remove him. Like they had to claw his hands off the rope.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Like, could you imagine your family trying to strangle you?
I don't even know how would
Yikes.
you, that's so like fucking weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's scary.
Yeah. So the caseworker, of course, that's seen all this, like she put in the reports that they were under spiritual and emotional distress, but the children were still taken away from their mom for a little bit. Um, they basically said that they just weren't being taken care of and they were being abused because of the things that were happening. And even though there were reports of this stuff, happening or whatever, they were saying that they were lying. Like I said this, that they were making this up and the kids were doing it for their mom because they were, one, trying to get out of their lease, and they were, two, they never went to school. So like she was in trouble for the kids not going to school. And so they were saying that that's why the kids were doing this,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess a couple years earlier there had been like times where they weren't going to school as well. So they were just saying it was just an excuse to try to get out of. But like again, to go this far, if somebody really went that far to not get in trouble being in, like, you have to know, thinking, um oh no.
Well, thank you for stopping by, Tater.
um
We appreciate you coming in.
you would have to know that going this deep, like going to the hospital, going to the doctors, having churches come, and contacting churches and stuff, like, that it's going to get out there and like people are going to be judging you.
That is
And
very extreme for it to go to that far.
exactly. So like
An
I get
insane
why
case
people
of
are
like
like,
Munchausen's by proxy or something like that.
yes, which I know it can happen.
Like in a way, if the whole walking on walls thing didn't happen,
Hmm.
I guess I could see see why people would think it would be like Munchausen's
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
But like kids don't walk on walls.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. As many things that were reported that crazy, I don't know, because at first I was like, nah, yeah. Just because, like I said, it's so weird to me that nothing happened in the house before. Oh, let's get back to that. So, yeah, let's get back to this. Um, so the children were taken away. They were two of the children were put in like a foster house or something, and they were put into two separate houses, one with one person and two with the other, with like the other place. Um, they actually, the parents, the mom and the grandma went to the house, and the CPS and two officers, and no, three officers, CPS and three officers came to the house to look at the house and make sure like it was safe or whatever. And they they said in there that the police officers wanted to just come because they were curious, basically.
That is
They just wanted to
crazy.
see. Yeah.
Because
So I
by that
guess,
point, everyone has like heard of it.
yeah.
Like everyone
So,
knows what's going on.
oh, for sure. I guess stuff happened while they were in there. And so like they put that in the, but again, they still kept the kids for a little bit. They finally got the kids back, and they decided they were going to, they got in touch with a priest, basically. Um, and actually, I think I didn't write it down, but I think they got in touch with the priest from CPS, or from somebody that had visited the house. They were like, hey, here's this priest that might be able to help you.
That is
Um,
weird. And you said through CPS?
yeah, I don't like, of course they weren't supposed to. I'm trying to remember.
That is such a
I'm so mad
weird
at...
place to get.
Well, I think it was just they knew a priest and they'd seen what was going on. So in their eyes are like, well, we got to help help this
Yeah.
family or whatever. So there was a exorcism performed on Latoya.
The mother.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is it's kind of weird though to me because I'm pretty sure in the Demon House show, so like you said earlier, Zack Bagins, Ghost Adventures, had bought the house. Um, he did a whole show. Like, he investigated and asked questions about what had happened on the first half of it, and then the second half, he went in and actually like stayed in the house night. And when he talked about it, I thought that he said that it was the oldest daughter that got the exorcism, but everything I saw, it was Latoya, which was the mom of the 3 children and the daughter of Rose. So maybe he just, I don't know, worded it wrong, worded it weird. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I think I've always heard of the mom getting the exorcism.
Yeah. So basically, they finally moved. Hold on, I have it written down.
Oh,
But
let me
like
know if you
after
want me
all
to
this,
switch between the photos as well.
oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, what's the next photo? Let's just go to the next photo.
Ooh.
Oh. Oh yeah. That's just like there was so Indy Star is the local newspaper where I live and which I just whatever. I think everybody live. Um and so that was just like an article about it. Oh, I think that go to the next picture. It's like a recreation of the altar. So see this
Oh, that's the
table.
recreation?
Yeah, so Zack did that when he did the show, when he stayed there. He did
So
a recreation of the
the
altar.
black figure is Zack then.
Yes.
I was gonna say that's either a full grown man or a fucking strong ass apparition. You can see his beanie and the fucking shoes and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. But I wish I would have got a picture of. I couldn't find one because I wanted to find a picture of the actual ground where it was broken and the dirt was up.
Yeah.
Um, but I couldn't find one. And they actually found stuff in that. Like they found like socks and like toys and stuff. But
I
to
remember
me,
hearing about that too.
but like again, like that's really kind of just like, okay, that things get get in the ground all the time. So I
That
don't know.
makes sense, yeah.
Oh, when the priest came to the house, he actually said that he thought they were cursed.
Ooh.
Cursed by the ex-boyfriend of Latoya because Latoya was dating this man and she found out that he was married. And so she found out by the wife. The wife had called and was like, whatever. And she was like, oh, I won't mess with them anymore. Like I didn't know, whatever, blah. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess when the wife was hanging up, she was like, you'll regret that you ever messed with him, basically. And so,
Damn.
yeah. So the priest said that when he went in there, he felt like it was cursed. Which I didn't know that was like a thing that they believed in, like in the church.
That is
But I
very
guess,
like it makes sense, but at the same time it doesn't make sense. Like it feels like it's so below their pay grade, but at the same time
yeah.
it's just kind of like, okay, well yeah, if you believe in this, this and that, then
I mean, why wouldn't you?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they think it was just happening to this family in this house. Going back to me being like, nothing happened before. I can't say anything happened after. Some stuff happened with an alcohol. They did when they were, um, but nothing like what happened when they were there. So they finally moved out May of 2012. But let's think about that. I say finally, but that's not even a year. That's 6 months
Yeah, they
that they
moved
were in that
into
house,
in
basically.
December, you said, right?
They moved it in November. It started in
Okay.
December. So 7 months. They were there for 7 months. and all this was happening. And
That is a
again,
lot. In such a
you
short span,
yes,
that's like
and
3 movies worth of stuff
yeah,
happening.
and you know that they don't have like the money to just be moving. So to me, them moving in 7 months, like something was seriously going on here. Something was, because
That's
if
yeah.
you're figuring it out and you're out of there in 7 months, like that's crazy. Um, so yeah, so they moved out in 2012 and they moved to Indianapolis and they live in Indianapolis now. Nothing's happened.
It just
Normal
ended.
life. Yep. Nothing's wrong. Normal life, there's nothing out there at all. Um, so that's when Zack actually bought the house in 2014. So
Good old
I don't know if any,
Zack.
huh?
I said good old Zack.
Yeah. Um, what's really funny is I don't like that show at all. I feel like Ghost Adventures is so staged
It
every time I
feels
watch it.
there were some I used to watch it a lot for the reactions that Zack had
Ugh,
specifically.
it's just so ridiculous. It's
Do
just
you
so
think we
over the
could get
top.
him as a guest?
No way.
I'm sure we could figure it out.
You think so?
Maybe if we pay him enough. I mean, how much? I mean,
I don't know. We'd have to look into that.
maybe we
But
can invite him to your house. I'll fly out, and we can just tell him there's like a
yeah.
really bad ghost there or something. Lure him out with the demons.
There you go. That's a good idea. Is that show even on anymore?
Ghost Adventures, yeah.
Uh, oh, I
I think
didn't
they just
know.
started a
Marcus
new
watches it.
season, I believe.
Mm. So okay, so this show, well, it's a movie, The Demon House, the movie. It actually came out in 2018, but it was actually filmed like 2014, 2015.
Why did it take so long for it to come out?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. I couldn't
Hmm.
figure it out because the house was actually demolished in January of 2016.
Oh, speaking of that, there you go.
So 4 years ago, the house was demolished, and
I
it just
thought
came out in 2018.
I thought that what's his face? I thought he was gonna. I've heard that Zach was gonna like move the house to Vegas to be a part of the museum he has.
No, so he took some stuff from the house, like
Okay.
I don't like from the basement, like pieces of the house, and put it in his museum,
Okay.
but like not anything of the house. Like the house is gone,
Damn.
legit. Yeah. So if you saw, I liked the movie, and I actually put that in sites, didn't I? Like the IMDb
I
of
believe
Demon
so.
House. Yeah, I liked the first part of the movie. Again, I'm not a huge fan of him when he like stays in houses or they go visit the places, because it's just, to me, is this real? Like, are you
Yeah.
just, like, I don't know. He just seems very fake to me. Like the whole show just seems fake to me. So that was kind of like But the first part, them doing the interviews and talking to people and talking about what happened, that was pretty interesting. Um, but they pretty much, I covered what they kind of covered. I feel like I would still suggest watching it. It's really, it's a professional person
A
talking about
professional
it.
person.
So the thing though with that, when they visited and they stayed over, of course there's like cameramen and two with them.
Mm-hmm.
Something that night happened to tell, and they talk about me, and I don't have notes about it. I just watching it, but basically one of the guys that worked for them like went crazy. I don't remember exactly what happened. He like went cuckoo, and like some stuff happened after, and they were all terrified
Oh
after they
shit.
stayed in this house. And they were saying it was because he stayed in the house, and that's why they demolished the house. He tore the house down.
They demolished the
He
house because this one man was having an issue, not because several children, a grandmother, and a late woman were having problems. Just because Zach and his buddies were having problems.
well, I think it was because they were like, yo, something really is happening here. But again, that's for people to determine, is it real or just for the movie? I don't know. I believe in this stuff, but sometimes I feel like people do take it to what it's not.
Yeah,
Like
and people
they,
tend to like over exaggerate certain things, I feel like, to make it be like,
for
well,
sure.
I did feel it and it was scary, but now that I'm not in the moment, it's not as scary as I thought it was. So I'm gonna fluff it up a little bit.
Exactly. So, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Professional.
I'm not even tired. I don't know where that came from. Um, so yeah, I really do suggest watching it. It was actually, if you like this type of stuff, watch it. It
Where
was
can you
good. It
watch
was
it?
it's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, cool.
I believe, but I do think it cost. I think it's also on like HBO Max. Like if you have HBO, I'm pretty sure it's there.
Do you think it would
But
be
yeah,
on is it the Travel Channel that has a lot of the paranormal shows? I watched,
maybe.
I
I don't really
remember on
watch TV like
campus,
that.
my roommate has her Fire Stick that we would watch, because we both watched the paranormal shows. And I don't remember
Hmm.
if it was the Travel Channel or something else similar to it, but you can watch like Ghost Adventures and stuff on it, so I'm just wondering if that movie is on it as well.
See, when I pull it up on IMDb, it actually only says video. The
Okay.
only reason I know it's on the HBO Max because it popped up for me to add HBO to something I was doing, and
Oh,
it
okay.
was one of the things on there. Um, yeah, I don't see that it says anywhere, and it actually says it's included with.
And what was the
So
name of the
maybe
movie? In case anybody
the
wanted to look it up.
Demon House.
Just Demon House?
Yep, and you'll know it's the movie because the cover is like the I don't know what this is called, movie poster. It's literally like a house on top of a goat's head, and it's
Oh,
like red
I
and
think
like
I've
flames at
seen
the top.
that.
Yeah,
Oh
I should
shit.
have I should have put that in the slideshow, but I didn't even think about it.
It's okay.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The house is gone. It actually, the exact date that demolished it was January 19th, 2016.
Damn.
And how much do you think he bought that house for?
Oh, I think maybe like 150, 200,000
Nope.
more.
35,000.
Just 35,000.
Yeah. He bought the
Damn.
house for 35,000. And
God
then now
damn.
look, got all of this out of it. And I think
Well, I
I
mean, he made so
cited
much more. He made like triple amount of that when that episode came
oh
out.
for
That
sure.
was pocket change for Bagel Bites.
Oh, this says it came out in 2019,
The
not
movie?
2018. Yeah. It's an hour and 51 minutes long. Like I said, the first half of it is him interviewing that, and the second half is where they're doing their Ghost Adventures thing, where they're in stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, I definitely would. I definitely recommend watching it if you like that type of. Definitely watch it.
Okay,
But
cool.
yeah, how crazy!
That is
Isn't that
so
crazy?
fucking crazy.
I
I
wanted to.
truly don't
Oh,
know
go
what
ahead.
I would do if I was in that situation.
I don't either. I really don't.
Because
But
it's
I
not
think
something like minimal. Like, it's not something you can just ignore. Maybe if you become
exactly.
like desensitized to it, but then like, what does that say about who you are to become desensitized to something that intense?
Hmm.
Like, it's,
And if it's actually possessing you,
yeah,
and again, this is all hearsay. Like we don't know for sure, but when you
yeah.
have notes and people out here that actually witnessed some of these things happening, it's kind of
It's,
hard to not think something was going on for sure.
yeah, there's obviously something psychological going on. I remember in the podcast, I believe it was, and that's why we drink podcast that covered it, or it might have been
Oh,
Two Girls One
I
Ghost.
love That's Why We
I
Drink.
love them. I believe
I
I think it might have been M that covered it. And I think they said that
I didn't see
uh
that episode.
it was early on because I listened to their episode on the Skinwalker Ranch for this again, but
Oh,
I believe it was. I forgot. I listened to so many like paranormal podcasts, I forget
mm-hmm.
exactly which
Me
one.
too.
But I'm just gonna say for the sake of it, say it's, and that's why we drank. But I do remember hearing that some of the theories were like there was like mold or something going on in the
Mm-hmm.
house, or bacteria, or like there was something going on
Yeah.
with like drugs or something that could have like psychologically made everyone see something. But to have
Yeah.
that many people, like this, like with the cops and stuff, like the second you see the house or step foot in it, that you see something is
Well,
like,
not only that, something happened at the hospital. Like,
yeah, so
I
it's
could understand
super
if like
weird.
all these people walked in there and okay, this
There's a gas or
whatever.
something, yeah.
Yeah, but like you're at the hospital and he walks up the wall and they have to have 5 men hold him down and they're acting like you said animals and
Yeah.
stuff like I don't know. I don't know. It's
It's something where like you really want an answer, but like personally with all this stuff, like I want an answer, but at the same time I don't want one. Because
yeah,
then you have to like
because what if
accept it.
right, but like what if the answer I feel like either way you'd be like ugh let down because the answer is like they lied, but then what if the answer is this really did fucking happen? That's scary.
Yeah, because like if it's like they lied, then how did they do it to that extent?
Yeah,
But then if they didn't lie, it's just like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
yeah. It's insane. I decided to do this because it is so close to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, oh, and also fun fact, Gary, Indiana is where Michael Jackson is from in the Jackson family.
Fun fact.
Did you know that?
I don't like Michael Jackson very much, but I do
Well,
remember hearing that. I do remember
yeah,
saying hearing him. He's from Indiana.
yeah. He's from Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's rough there. It's rough,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. I hope
Ooh,
you
I am.
guys liked that. I hope I did an okay job.
You did a great job. That was so entertaining. That was so cool.
Was it?
We're so professional. Who are we?
Yay! Yeah. So it was fun. I love this stuff. You don't like Gangsta Jackson.
God.
um, I feel like somebody else is from there too, but I can't remember. There's another famous person that's from Gary, Indiana. Oh, it's rough. If you ever been through Gary, Indiana, it is rough. When I go to
Um,
Chicago, we go through there. So yeah, so I actually had a lot of fun. I was nervous to do this. I don't know why, because I wasn't nervous for the other two.
it's
But I think
very like it's weird. I know I get it. Like I'm very nervous for this
yeah.
because it's like you don't want to mess anything up, but at the same time, it's just like if you mess something up, it's whatever.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
All
if you
right.
guys, Sandra made some really cool suggestion sheets that everyone should use and give us
Oh yeah, it's on my Discord.
topics or things to talk about. Because we'll for sure do more spooky episodes.
It's on my
I
Discord. Check it out if you're not on the Discord already. But it is in there under the WTAPD tab channel, something like that.
did
It's
you have to look? Did you have to?
maybe. All right. Is it
Oh
my turn?
man, are you ready for me to ask so many questions?
I'm so scared.
Okay. Like, just know because you know how I am already, and when it comes to stuff, like I'm like so intrigued. I'm
No, no, no.
so excited because I know I've seen like something on this, but it's been a really long time ago,
Yeah, I had to
and I
definitely.
don't really know much.
I had to. I knew some. Yeah, I knew some things, but like I had to redo my research. And quick heads up, I don't get scared easily when it comes to like certain things like ghosts and whatever. I very much welcome that with like a very positive mind. If you're a good being, a being of light and whatever, you're welcomed here as long as you're good. All of that. I believe I'm very good at like keeping the negatives and the bad stuff away. But this, so with all that in mind, I don't get scared often by like movies or whatever. But this, like looking at photos of the Skinwalker Ranch and looking at like reading into it, it did send chills on my back. So much that I couldn't like it just terrified me. And I think a part of that was because this is like a thing. Like when I go
Mm-hmm.
into it, it's like the government's involved into this, like, heavy. There's so many, like, like, the folklore behind this. So I'm gonna cover, obviously the ranch. I'm gonna cover a bit of the UFO sightings on it, including, like, aliens and all that, obviously. Bigfoot. There's this really big dog thing running around. I'll get into that.
That's the thing I have seen on it.
The
Is
dog.
that the picture you showed me earlier? One of the pictures?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a few other things that I didn't I obviously didn't include, so I'm gonna get into it. But I cover the topic of of skinwalkers more than anything else. Like, I touched briefly on UFOs and Bigfoot, whatever. But the reason I cover more, I did more research on the skinwalker specifically, is because that's what I truly believe is behind all this. And once I start reading, you'll understand why. But there are, like, if you go online, you can Google them, you can search them up yourselves. But for the sake of this podcast and YouTube and everything, I did not include the videos or the photos of the mutilated cows, sheep, bulls, or the dogs, the cats. I kept that stuff out, but it does get very gory. Again, kept a lot of that out. If you're really inclined, if you're really interested in it, uh, search it up, look it up, type in Skinwalker Ranch, go through Google Images, you'll find it.
I'm doing it right now.
It's very fucked up. The more you go into it, the further in depth you go, the more photos you will see. Personally, I felt like that wasn't needed right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, that's the thing. I really don't even want to look at it, but
it's like
I
you can't
know
help
once
it.
you start talking about it, like, I'm
Yeah.
to
And
see
again,
it.
if you want to hear more in-depth information regarding Skinwalker Ranch and the whole ranch itself, check out the And That's Why We Drink episode on it. I believe it's episode 73. Em does an incredible job covering it. The podcast is hosted by Em and Christine. It's called And That's Why We Drink. Find it on literally every podcast or Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever. A lot of my information I got from that, as well as a few other sources. Again, all of that will be in the show notes. Okay. I am so nervous.
Oh,
I'm sorry if I
awesome.
stutter. I stutter a lot when I have to read out loud.
Oh, you'll be fine. Because actually, I thought I was going to have to what I wrote down, and I didn't.
Oh, I also I'm reading right off my phone because I don't want to overrun my laptop with having pages open. So I can't see chat clearly. So Mama, you're in charge of looking at chat.
Good. I
All right.
got you.
Ugh, I'm so scared. Okay. Okay. So the Skinwalker Ranch, already messed up. The Skinwalker Ranch, also known as the Sherman Ranch, is located in the Unetah Basin in the northeast Utah, in northeastern Utah. The Skinwalker Ranch, also known as the Sherman Ranch and the UFO Ranch, is filled with myths and mysteries, including UFOs, aliens, cattle mutilations, crop circles, and Navajo witches called skinwalkers. A quick side note, I am reading directly from my notes, so in case you're wondering, that's why I sound like I'm reading a script. I am. Because it's so information packed, I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah. See, that's why you're better than me.
I'm panicked.
You're fine. You got this.
So the 480-acre ranch is located about 3.5 miles southeast of Fort Duchesne, I think it's called, Utah, and it borders the Ute Indian reservation. Oh, it's just windy. The house is settling, but it started to make sound noises and it scared me. The Unetah.
And Sandra doesn't get scared.
I don't. It's just this topic scares me.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Okay, the Unetah Valley Reservation was created for the Ute in October of 1861 by executive order of President Abraham Lincoln. Again, I'm sorry if I mess up any pronunciation or any of that.
Yeah, same.
English is my second language. There's some words I can't say, so I'll try my best. I'm sorry if I mess it up. Okay, continuing.
English is my first language, and there's a lot of words I can't say.
It's a hard language. All right, the uncamp uncomfarg fagger. I don't know. It's called it's UNCOMPAHGRE. It's a big. So I'm gonna admit I don't know how to say that, but it's commonly called the Uray Reservation. So we'll call it that. It was created in January of 1882, and in 1886 the two reservations were merged, becoming the Unita and Uray reservations. For more than 150 years, the Ute have lived here on the reservation that covers over 4.5 million acres.
Dang.
So, a huge amount of land.
Holy shit. Like, how big is that?
It covered a good amount of Utah, I believe, and I believe the states surrounding it. I didn't look at that exactly.
I was gonna say, that's gotta be like the size of some states, right?
Yeah. So the ranch
Yikes.
itself is only 480 acres, but the reservation itself was over 4.5 million, give or
Wow.
take again throughout the years. Natives in the area have long said that the boarding ranch is on the quote-unquote path of the Skinwalker, and for that reason have long been forbidden to go near the property. The Skinwalker is a malevolent, shape-shifting witch of the Navajo people, which the Ute people take very seriously. I'm gonna go into that very soon. Before the Ute moved to the reservation, there were a fierce and warlike people who lived primarily in Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. So it's between those three states that that reservation covered, I believe. At one time, the Ute and Navajo people fought together against their common enemies. However, later, when the Ute first acquired horses from the Spanish, they began to abduct Navajo people and sold them in New Mexico slave markets. Later, during the Civil War, some Ute bands joined with Kit Carson in a military campaign against the Navajo people. This ended in the Navajo being expelled from their lands and forced the march to a reservation in Fort Summer, New Mexico, called the Long Walk of the Navajo. Though the tribe was allowed to return to their homelands, the Four Corners area several years later, the Ute believed that the Navajo put a curse on the Ute tribe for their previous transgressions. And that's kind of where all this stems from.
Yikes.
So they believe.
So wait, what's this picture that we're looking at right now? Is this
So
part of
right
the...
now, this is the Skinwalker. That's the ranch.
Gotcha.
There
Okay.
aren't many photos of the ranch itself current day because I get into it later, but it is heavily guarded by military hired personnel, quote unquote.
Wow. So like we
Very
couldn't go
heavily.
visit here if
You
we wanted
cannot,
to.
like, you get anywhere close to the gates. People have reported guns being pointed right away. There's cameras everywhere. Again, I'll get into it later, but it is
Gotcha.
very heavily guarded by a privately
Wow.
funded whole conspiracy theory. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's totally fine.
Distracted.
Okay. The Ute believe the Skinwalker presence in the Unita Basin extends back at least 15 generations. They don't believe that the Skinwalkers live on the ranch, but rather hide out in a place called Dark Canyon, which is located very nearby. I didn't get the exact locations because it's hard to pinpoint exactly where the Dark Canyon is. It's just in a general area.
Gotcha.
But it's close enough for it to be related. In 1994, Skinwalker Ranch became well known when Terry and Gwen Sherman, the names are popular pseudonyms for the real family. I believe the names of the real family members are like wiped, like you can't find it. But they are
Oh.
called Terry and Gwen Sherman. The Sherman Ranch is one of the names of the ranch. And their children purchased the property only to be driven away from the home. Sorry. Only to be driven away from the home after 2 years of increasingly terrifying paranormal events.
And when was this?
They purchased the home it became well known in 1994.
Oh wow.
So I'm guessing
Okay.
between the early 1990s to the late 1990s is when this became very popular.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, when they moved onto the property, the Sherman family noted padlocks on both inside and outside of the windows and doors on the main farmhouse. These were, I don't have photos of it because, again, it's really hard to find photos of this place. But the padlocks were massive, and there were locks and padlocks on both the inside and outside of the windows and doors.
Wow.
Chains and bolts were connected to each end of the home, and to this day, people are still trying to figure out if the padlocks and chains were meant to keep something inside or keep something outside. Because there were chains and locks on either end of the house inside. But there were bolts and deadlocks on the windows and doors on both inside and outside. And I also forgot to write it down, but there are reports of really deep scratches, like animal scratches on the hardwood and the walls in certain areas of the house. Um,
Wow.
Da, da, da. While they lived on the ranch, the family experienced multiple cattle mutilations, crop circles. They were hearing voices calling from out of nowhere, and adamant objects were moving before their eyes. UFOs. They were seeing UFOs and seeing strange birds and other animals on the property. I touched into that, but they were seeing tropical birds like toucans, parrots, that type of stuff. And they are in the middle of Utah, where obviously no tropical parrots should be living.
Right. Holy cow. Isn't it cold in Utah?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
gets
they
really
have like
hot, really cold.
seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Um, and along with that, there was this one report of Gwen Sherman. I believe it was Gwen, the mother. She came home from grocery shopping. She put her bags on the counter. She looked away for or she unpacked everything out of the bag. She looked away for a second. When she looked back, all the things were packed back into the bags.
Whoa.
Yeah, within like a second. So there's a very heavy, what's believed to be poltergeist activity on the property. But before we get into that,
Could you
uh,
imagine that? Hold on. Like, could you imagine unpacking your shit and then turning around and your shit being packed back up? I'd be so mad.
that
I'd be
would,
like, listen
yeah.
here, you little bitch. Unpack my shit back.
It's very like, I don't, it's like, what would you do? Because then you're looking at it like, did I really unpack that or did I just imagine that?
Yeah. Because it's kind of like when you drive somewhere and you're like, how the fuck did I get here?
Yeah, I've definitely done that before. But,
Man.
and I don't believe I go into it very much, but, there have been reported cases of the Sherman family members losing track of time. And if you guys don't know, that is a very common side effect of being possessed, is losing track of time. Like 1 minute it's 4 p.m., the next minute it's 8 p.m., and you don't know where the time went. Like it like you blink and it's gone. That's a very common form of possession that all the family members have experienced.
Yikes.
The next photo uh, is what is believed to be a skinwalker, what they look like.
Ugh.
Again,
Like
it's
chills.
chills. It's terrifying, dude. To the right, I go into it, but skinwalkers are the websites I looked at made it very, very clear that skinwalkers are not medicine men. They are not medicine men in the Native American culture are typically seen as healers, good people. Skinwalkers are basically people gone bad. And to become a skinwalker, I believe I covered it. Yeah, I cover it later in a little bit actually. But it's very intense. But I just want to get that out there because the websites I looked at also made it very clear that skinwalkers are not medicine men. They are feared by many, many cultures out there. Okay, the very name, Skinwalker Ranch, alludes to one of the most feared entities in Navajo culture and history. Skinwalkers are reputed to be malevolent, that's the word,
Malevolent.
malevolent, witches who mastered the ability to change into different creatures. The hulking wolf-like beasts confronted by the Shermans, which seem to resemble large, long, extinct dire wolves that used to prowl North America. So think of dire wolves from, I think, Game of Thrones, but evil, and I believe most of the time they were black or brown fur colored.
I've never
Um,
seen Game of Thrones.
Neither did I, but that's how the website described them.
Okay, gotcha.
Um, as well as other creatures seen by NIDS observers have been linked to legends of skinwalkers in the region. I will explain what NIDS is later on. As
That
well
one
as
said Wendigo. Is that how you say it?
Wendigo. So Wendigos are
Oh,
I go into that later. Wendigos and Skinwalkers are believed to be they get confused often. The most common or popular example of a Wendigo is from Until Dawn. I will explain it in a little bit. Very, very different creatures, but I can see where it gets easily confused.
yeah. I will say, looking at this picture, it did make me think a little bit of
Yeah.
Until Dawn. Yeah,
And I should have done a comparison photo of the Wendigo and Skinwalkers. I didn't. You can search them up yourselves.
yeah.
But the very traditional photos of what the original Wendigos are said to look like do look like Skinwalkers, which makes sense. But they are two very, very different creatures. Uh, so what is a Skinwalker? The Navajo Skinwalker is also called the Yinaldalushi, I believe is what it's called. The Navajo have some of the most well documented and arguably some of the most interesting lore surrounding skinwalkers. The Aunt Genie, I believe it's called, practitioners of witchery are people who have received supernatural power by breaking the cultural taboo. Doing something that in their culture is considered very bad. Like very, very bad. Upon
Mm,
initiation of again, they give the traditional Navajo pronunciation. I don't want to butcher it any more than I have, so I will call them skinwalkers. But upon the initiation of a skinwalker, a person is said to gain the power to become a Yinalishi, which means with it he goes on all fours in the Navajo language. This is done via a dance and song ceremony used to curse instead of heal, which is where the whole they are not medical healers. They are they are like witches basically. I think is what they describe
mm,
it as.
gotcha.
Uh, Although both men and women can become skinwalkers, men are more commonly initiated. It is generally thought that only childless women can become witches. Not every witch is a skinwalker, but every skinwalker is a witch. That was very important. Um, like healers are often considered witches in certain tribes. But just because you are a witch does not mean you are a skinwalker. But if you can only become a skinwalker if you are a practicing witch. But it said that
Whoa.
once you start that process of becoming a skinwalker, you are no longer a medicine healer.
So you're telling me that, so like this picture right here basically is what's on the left?
So
Sorry.
that's the human form.
So they turn into the person on
Yeah,
the right
so
and like stay that way, or
they can
they.
turn they're shapeshifters pretty much. And that's like
That's
one of
right.
the
Okay.
big differences between Wendigo and skinwalkers is that Wendigo cannot shapeshift. Skinwalkers have been known
Gotcha.
to shapeshift, which is why I believe a lot of these sightings, like Bigfoot and so on, are just skinwalkers. But uh, practicing skinwalkers are have been noted to transform into shapeshift into either birds. Their most common form are wolves, snakes, anything like that. Uh,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. Um, in some stories, people who have attained the highest rank of being called a Klizadi, which I believe that's how it's said, pronounced. Swage, thank you for the follow.
I would say it's probably Swag Edgar, but
Wow, my dyslexic
I,
ass.
I could be wrong.
Thank you for the follow. How's it going? Oh yeah, it is. I couldn't see the capitalization. Thank you for the follow, swag. I'm sorry I can't read comments. I like can't see chat.
Yeah,
So
I'm trying to like. I forgot there for a minute, so sorry if I didn't respond to anybody. I ain't seen it. I just forgot for Sandra couldn't see it, so
yeah, it's alright. So
I'm
in some
answering now.
stories, people who have attained the highest rank are called Kliz Klizyadi, which means pure evil. That's a direct translation of it, I think. This can be achieved by killing a close blood relative, by incest, by necrophilia, or other culturally taboo and
Whoa.
evil acts. So to become a Ecclesiati or a Skinwalker, the highest form is by doing seriously taboo stuff. Like incredibly fucked up stuff.
So this is like a Voldemort situation.
Pretty much, yeah. Like you have to do the most fucked up
Yikes.
stuff, and then once you do that stuff, especially in the Navajo culture, once you commit uh once you commit killing or murdering a blood relative, incest, necrophilia, or other stuff like that's that fucked up, you are banished from the tribe. You are pretty much seen as someone you're like dishonored, pretty much. So to be a skinwalker, to be a Ecclesiati, you have to do that type of stuff. Upon completing one or more of these acts, it is said to destroy their humanity and allow them to become fully initiated in the way of witchery. And again, their form of witchery is very, very, very different than the medicine healers' forms.
Gotcha.
Although a skinwalker is most frequently seen as a coyote, a wolf, a fox, an eagle, an owl, a crow, the Yi Naladelushi is said to have the power to assume the form of any animal they choose. A decision based on what specific abilities are needed. For example, a skinwalker may use a bird form for expedient travel, in pursuit, escape, or otherwise. Some Navajo also believe that skinwalkers have the ability to seal the face of a person. So there have been many, many, many stories out there of, and again, connecting to the Skinwalker Ranch, where they will hear or see a family member and they will be tempted to go towards them, but then they remember, hey, this person is nowhere near the ranch. And that is their way of trying to draw the person out to attack them.
Yeah, it is Swag Edgar, and he just rehydrate. So everyone, take a drink of water.
I
We have
appreciate that.
actually
Where's my
been on
water?
here for almost 2 hours. It is
Where's my big ass bottle of water? Holy shit. Okay, let me go get my water real quick.
So see, that's why that hydrate is there. Because she has obviously not drank any water this whole episode.
Tater, thank you so much for cheering 335 bits. Holy shit.
Ooh,
I appreciate the
let's
hell out of you. Thank you so
go.
much. Alright, we got our waters.
Yes, I feel much better.
They were like, this bitch sounds dehydrated as fuck.
I always sound like that, so.
I was saying. But yeah, it is commonly believed that skinwalkers are able to put on the face of whoever they want, animal, human, whatever,
Right.
to draw their prey out.
No, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Skinwalkers are commonly believed to be the color white while in animal form. However, there have been many cases of them being different colors, be it because their fur is matted black or whatever. They rolled around in dirt and soot, different stuff. This is how many
Interesting.
distinguish a skinwalker in animal form from a regular animal. That and the sheer size of it. These are like direwolf sized people, massive, like
Mm.
bordering 4 or 5 feet tall. So
They look huge in the picture.
massive, yeah. I keep losing my place. The
Sorry, it's because I
Navajo.
interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I'm looking off my phone, so. The Navajo believe that if you ever lock eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into your body. Alternatively, some Navajos believe that if you make eye contact with a skinwalker, your body will freeze up with fear, and the skinwalker will use whatever fear you have, whatever you're scared of, to gain power and energy from you.
Oh, shit.
Skinwalkers, like many other malevolent legends, gain power from the victim's fear. It is said that to say Skinwalker out loud will attract them to you, as though you've been marked. To say their name aloud isn't to invite them to yourself. Putting it out there. No.
But this is only in Utah, right? Like, you have to be in Utah for this to
No.
happen.
They're like everywhere, according to.
What?
Yeah, so I've started a couple. It's a
Holy
drinking game. Every time I say
shit.
Skinwalker, take a shot.
Everybody tell Sandra how much you love her now.
Might not be here tomorrow.
Jesus.
So the reason why this freaks me out so much is because like I have never seen a skinwalker, nor do I ever want to see one. I have seen a ghost. I've come amends to that. I've made amends with that. I've never seen this, and I don't want to. It freaks me out a little bit. But you know.
But you never know. You might have. It might have been something formed as
Maybe,
something
yeah.
else.
I also live in the butt shit middle of nowhere. If they come out all the way over here and they're not scared of getting hit by a car or whatever, power to them, I guess. But again,
But
I
like,
always joke about it, but I do believe, in case anybody's like seriously like into the spiritual stuff, is very into it. I do believe the reason I can like talk, I feel comfortable talking about all this openly, is because I feel like I'm protected enough spiritually and all that, that I won't be, that I'm not going to attract anything negative or dark onto my property or around me.
you don't have like an altar or
Not anymore. You know, I took it
a
down, like
Ouija
took it like last
board, like
week.
just chilling next to you, or
Actually, no, it's downstairs.
oh jeez.
Yeah, so
That
I feel like
is
I'm very
creepy.
like comfortable with the idea of being protected in one way or another.
Well, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. What are you gonna do about it?
True. Uh, continue or continuing. Um,
I was like, you continue.
you continue. Skinwalkers are usually very hairy in their human form and often wear animal pelts. Some Navajos describe them as a perfect version of the animal in question. The skin may just be a mask, which are the only garments worn in the initiation, right? Yeah, ritual. Since skinwalkers are shunned and despised, numerous attempts have been made to hunt and skin and kill a skinwalker. They are not usually successful. However, sometimes a skinwalker will be tracked down only to lead to the house of the tracker or someone known by him. As in European werewolf lore, a human form will keep any injury sustained during animal form, which is sometimes a good way to find skinwalker hiding in your village. It is said that if a Navajo was to know the person behind the skinwalker, they had to pronounce the full name. And about 3 days later, the person would either get sick or die for the wrong they have committed. It was also believed to kill a skinwalker. It was also believed to kill a skinwalker in animal form was to shoot it in the neck with bullets dipped in white ash. So if you know someone who becomes a skinwalker and you see them, if you say their full name and you pronounce it correctly, they will die 3 days later.
Wow.
And besides that, the only way to kill a skinwalker is to drip a bullet in white ash and shoot them in the neck.
So it is kind of like a werewolf.
Essentially, yeah, it's very it's compared to like European werewolf lore, and I say European werewolves because I believe last I checked or I've heard that American werewolves and European werewolves are very different, or
Mm-hmm.
the lore behind them. Some say skinwalkers can have a power to read a human's thoughts. They also possess the ability to make any human or animal noise they choose, regardless of their current form. A skinwalker may use the voice of a relative or a cry of an infant to lure victims out of the safety of their homes, since a skinwalker cannot enter an inhabited home without an invitation, similar to vampires. So if there's a skinwalker outside your house, unless you invite them into your home, and I believe it is on your property, they cannot come anywhere near you unless you are outside.
But why?
That
What
it's
would stop them? Like they can change into any form that they want, but they
may
can't walk into
I
your
read
fucking
about
house.
it being like a spiritual thing, like they don't have permission. So kind of like demons in a way, you have to grant them permission to come in one way or another, like through a certain emotion or a ritual or saying something or doing something.
Gotcha.
um
Okay. I mean, I guess.
yeah, so you have to, essentially it's like a vampire where you have to invite them on into your house.
Gotcha. Well,
um
that's kind of nice.
yeah, I guess. In a weird fucked up way, that is nice. um the Yinala Delushi, or the Skinwalkers, can be spotted and singled out from other people because their eyes glow like an animal's, sometimes even more so, even in human form. They'll have an animal form they've spotted by moving stiffly and unnaturally or acting strangely. In human form, it is said to believe that they have cat-like eyes, bright white eyes, or yellow or red eyes. That's something they cannot get rid of. I feel like if somebody's gonna ask, even if you wear glasses, sunglasses, you still can't hide them. Um,
Really?
and then if they're in animal form, they move very stiffly, animatronic almost.
Hmm.
Uh,
Like, I keep looking at this picture that you have up here, and I literally just
it's
chills.
so fucking. It's like you can't stop staring at it.
You can't.
And
It's
again,
like
there's
it's
so
just
many other like drawings and art of them, and there are like movies about the ranch and everything. Um,
oh
you're
really?
yeah, you're free to look it up on your own. There is some stuff I wasn't comfortable with sharing. Uh, Next photo, very unsettling, in my opinion at least. I am
Mhm.
not comfortable with having it up on screen right away. When it comes on screen, I will not look at it. It's just something about it that is very unsettling. But we'll get to that. Um, Skinwalkers use spells and charms to instill fear and control of their victims. Some of the tools at their disposal include fragments of human bone launched by blowguns, which can poison and kill the unfortunate victim, and human bone dust, which can cause paralysis and heart failure. Skinwalkers have been known to find traces of their victim's hair, wrap it around a pot shard, and place it into a tarantula hole.
Oof.
Even little what the fuck? Even live rattlesnakes are known to are known to be used as charms by the skinwalker. A skinwalker can use anything of personal belongings to use in ceremonial rituals against the person they are doing evil against. So, like, healers are very known for using, or I don't say very known, some are known for using things of your personal belonging, your clothes, your hair, something like that, to
Mhm.
help you in a way. And the skinwalkers do the same thing, but instead of wrapping around in silk or a dove feather or something like that, they will put it towards with spiders or snakes or something that's considered, bad. Yeah.
Fuck spiders. Tater said, so can you see their human them in the animal? I
Can
don't
you
remember if you said that or not. It's like you can in their animal form, is there any part of them that's human? Like can you
No. Depending on
no.
how far into the animal form they're in, like if you look at the photo, if they're half transition, they will have like human legs, but the bottom half of humans, the top legs half as wolves or switched around. Um, I believe no. But that could be. I think it just depends on what
I mean, looking
lore.
at the picture, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. But then again, they can also transform into literally anything.
Right.
So, uh, da da da. Skinwalkers also use a powder called corpse dust, also known as corpse poison, corpse powder, and unedi, to poison victims. Corpse dust is composed of ground infant bones, often twin infants, specifically bones from the fingertips and backs of the skulls. Why
What the
those parts
fuck?
specifically, I don't know. I didn't really look into it. I was scared of what I was going to pull up.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The skinwalkers blow it into the faces of the victims or down the chimney of the victim's home. Soon after the victim breathes in the dust, the tongue starts to swell and blacken. They undergo convulsions and die not long after. The Navajo legends say that one cannot fight evil with evil. The only way to stop a skinwalker is to learn his true identity and then call him by his full name. The dose of reality is enough for the skinwalker to stop his evil ways. He will then have to face the wrong that he's inflicted on others, which is often enough to get the skinwalker eventually killed. Uh, Again, that's something that is very heavily touched on. You cannot fight evil with evil. If you know someone who is a skinwalker and you want them to stop being a skinwalker, say their name. Otherwise, build a house and don't let them in it.
And again, I feel like the sunflowers would come handy in
The
this situation.
sunflowers might come in handy.
I feel like
You know what?
everyone needs
Sunflowers,
to
I
have
heard
sunflowers.
sunflowers are like poisonous to dogs, so like sprinkle that around.
I'm telling you, man. We have
We've
solved it
solved
today.
it, dude.
This is crazy. Where's our money?
We've solved it. Government,
Give
are
us
you
a
listening?
lab.
Um, a common misconception of this goes back to the Wendigo stuff. A common misconception, especially in today's media, is the resemblance between skinwalkers and the Wendigo cryptid seen in Until Dawn. Wendigos are humans turned monster, usually after eating human flesh. Like you see in the
Mm.
game at the end, depending what, a bit of a spoiler, at the end, depending what ending you do get, one of the
Mm-hmm.
characters turns into a Wendigo. And you could see them eating human flesh. And that is typically how you do turn into a Wendigo. Um, and the Wendigos do not have the ability to shapeshift, while Skinwalkers are shamans that are turned to the dark side and have the ability to shapeshift. The ranch.
Um,
Go ahead.
sorry, Tater had a question. So, if we say their name, does that change them back or kill them?
So, what I've read is that when you say their name, full pronunciation, and you say it correctly, it will kill them within 3 days, I believe, unless they are able to come to terms in some way, form, or another and own up to what they did. But
Oh,
either way, there once you become a skinwalker, there's no way going back to your tribe, no way finding peace after that. Essentially,
we would be screwed because we can't even pronounce words
very true.
correctly.
But
So,
we also
like,
live in like the whitest areas in the country, so how hard would it be to say John Smith?
oh, that's true.
uh,
Oh man.
the ranch, which takes its name from these shape-shifting witches, was first homesteaded by the Myers family in 1905, and first consisted of a few small buildings on the northwest corner of the ranch and at the foot of Skinwalker Ridge. Later, the original homestead was abandoned and the Myers established a new home in the eastern side of the ranch. By the 1930s, it was occupied by Kenneth John Myers and his wife, Edith Child Myers. They stayed on the property until 1987. During their occupancy, they made no reports of any strange occurrences, though some of their neighbors did. Uh, in the meantime, other unusual events began to occur in the Unetah Basin in the 1950s, including numerous reports of the unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. This continued throughout the next several decades. Interestingly, these were not the first reports of strange aircrafts in the sky, especially above the ranch. The earliest mention dates from the early 1700s when Spanish explorers in search of the Spanish Trail passed through the Unetah Basin and reported seeing craft in the sky over their campfires at night.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot to. Okay. This is what a skinwalker reportedly looks like.
What the fuck?
I have my photos mixed up. uh, we'll do that. That's
It
the
looks
that's
like
the ranch now. But that is reportedly what is. This photo freaks me out very much. That is typically an evil turned shaman. That's what they look like. Reportedly, you can see that they have flowers on them. They're wearing animal skin, masks to cover their faces for whatever reason. Very fucked up. Very scary.
oh, so this is them without turning into anything. Like this is
Reportedly, yeah.
wow. That's freaky.
So you can see the certain it looking at the photo, even if you didn't know that they were reportedly skinwalkers, you can tell there's something eerie about them.
Yeah.
That something
It's
about the photo just there's something quite not right there.
yeah. That's fucking that's nope. Nope.
Mhm.
No thank you.
Mhm. So I'm gonna skip that. Okay. I don't have a photo of the UFOs because all of the photos again of the UFOs over the Skinwalker Ranch are very blurry. Obviously, cameras have been reported to stop working the second you step foot on the property. Again, please watch M's report on it, and that's why we drink. I believe it's episode 73, where they go into more detail about how the cameras stop working. There's a reported case of there being a herd of cows and a bull in a fenced-in area. Camera. This was happened later on after the Sherman family no longer lived on the ranch. Um, but they were setting up cameras around a certain area of the farm. Uh, and as they were setting up cameras, they were putting like duct tape to keep it down on the fence so it doesn't fall over in case of wind or whatever. But then something happened where the batteries and the duct tape first of all disappeared. Like they could not find it. It
The
disappeared.
fuck?
It vanished. Like the roll and everything. Batteries popped out of the cameras. And all of the animals seemed to like freeze, like stop moving. The cameras turned off, and then a few seconds later, within 5 seconds maybe, the cameras turned back on, but the bull is gone, and it's a bull. So if anybody knows how big bulls are,
Yeah.
it's
What?
impossible to. First off, they're stubborn animals. You cannot tell a bull where to go, let alone it can't disappear within 5 seconds. And this part of the ranch it was on was very like there's nowhere for it to hide. It couldn't hide behind trees or whatever. It's vanished.
Mm-mm-mm.
And then the surrounding cows were very freaked out, frozen. And before reportedly, the cows would start to freak out the second before something would happen.
Wow.
Yeah. So next, I'm going to talk about UFOs. That I do talk about skinwalkers a little bit more, but I did want to touch on some other things. Um, the UFO reports numbered to be in the hundreds, including just above the ranch, included strange fireballs, an aircraft that was ranged in size from 20 to 30 feet across to as so the UFOs reported have been anywhere to be as big as 20 to 30 feet to the size of multiple football fields. So imagine how
Wow.
big of a football field is. Now
Yeah.
imagine talking 4 to 5 to even 6 football fields smushed together. That's how big these UFOs were, reported above the ranch and in the surrounding area.
Holy shit.
Yeah. They were described variously as round, oval, cigar-shaped, and triangular. Some were surrounded by a glowing green light, others emitted wavy red beams, and others appeared to shoot colored lights from their underbellies. By the 1970s, the Utah Highway Patrol was getting so many UFO calls that the troopers stopped filling out incident reports. At the same time, local ranchers also began to report bizarre cattle mutilations. A retired science teacher named Joseph Junior Hicks from Roosevelt, Utah, investigated more than 400 UFO sightings in the Unetah Basin. He found that the UFO appearances often coincided with cattle mutilations. This includes ears being like surgically torn off, parts of the cows being again surgically torn off, like sewed off,
Yikes.
like not something where it was an animal coming up and taking a chomp out of them. It
Like
was
ripping it off.
ripping it off, yeah, and the cows wouldn't lose any blood, any of that. It was
Holy cow.
literally.
Yikes.
Um, After the Myers vacated the ranch in 1987, it stood empty for 7 years before it was purchased by Terry and Gwen Sherman in 1994. The couple moved on to the ranch with their 2 children and their livestock. They were surprised to find the previous owners had placed deadbolt locks on all the doors and windows, including those inside the house. I touched on this earlier. Some of those deadbolts had on both inside and outside the house. Even the kitchen cabinets had bolts on them. And at
Hmm.
both ends of the house, iron stakes and heavy chains had been installed, which Sherman suggested were used by the previous tenants for large guard dogs. But again, why would you need to stake down a guard dog?
Right. So, like, when they moved into this house, they didn't know that any of this weird shit had happened to people.
Well, reportedly, the people before then, the people who lived at the house on the property beforehand, have did not report anything happening on the property,
Oh,
but the surrounding neighbors did.
gotcha. Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they became part of the Skinwalker.
What?
Maybe they became part of the Skinwalker.
Oh, maybe. Um, so if you look at the photos, uh, it is believed that the brown thing in the middle is a cow, and the two black things on the side are reportedly either Utah wolves, which I guess reportedly have been known to grow really big in size, or skinwalkers. Because when you look at the photo, that is a full grown cow in the middle. And then you look at the size of the wolves next to it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so massive. Like those are big fucking wolves.
In their face, the one on the right, like the face kind of has like a, I don't know. For when I look at it, it's like I get like a human vibe.
There is like a very like the very like I'm pointing at it like you can see. But there's like it looks like it's not right. With a lot of these photos, it just does not look right. Like there's something off.
It's
Uh
crazy. But so wait, who took this picture?
it was I believe it was one of the people who I believe the photo was taken by someone later on after the Sherman family moved out.
Like, how are they that close?
It's zoomed in.
Oh, okay. You did say that.
But the
Sorry.
I do go on to talk about another part of it, but the wolves, quote unquote, have been known to come up right to the kids on the farm. Right up to them.
Mm-mm. Nope. No, thank you.
I okay, I talk about it next. The very
Well,
day what was that?
okay. So the left and the right, those are both the wolf or the skinwalker or whatever. And then in the
Yes.
middle, the like brown and white thing is the cow, right?
Reportedly, yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at the
Tanner.
middle right, you see the white line in the middle, and right to the right of
Hmm.
it looks like you can see
Mm-hmm.
the side of the cow's face with the eyes, the nose, and then the ears.
Got ya.
Reportedly, again, super blurry. It's you just taking somebody's word by it.
Right, right. Well, when you zoom in, it is.
Hmm. Um, and to this day, there are no like confirmed photos of skinwalkers for obvious reasons.
Well, yeah.
Hmm. Uh,
But again,
I
there
did,
might be. We just don't really.
yeah, very true. Um, there have been a lot of reports of possessions on the property. I didn't touch on into them very much because they do. The whole spiel of it, it's pretty much summed up is that the family, the kids especially, would see shadow figures walking around their rooms. In You would see shadow figures walking around the barn, around the cows, specifically around the mother cow, the newly mothered cows. So female cows that just gave birth. There'll be a lot of shadow figures around them. They will hear ominous voices from different parts of the houses. Like I said earlier, bags would become unpacked. Um,
Mm-mm.
or repacked or everything. They'll feel something pulling at them, this and that. Again, you can do your own research on that if you're interested. It's very classic demon possession. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you look into it, I didn't want to get too far into it because I do believe everything can stem back to the skinwalkers.
Right.
Um,
Definitely sounds like.
yeah. So the very day they took possession, where one of the family members, I believe at this moment it was when um yeah, so when Gwen Sherman went to the store and she came back and the stuff was unpacked. So on that day, the Sherman family spotted a large coyote or a wolf, similar to what you see in the photos, in one of their pastures, which soon approached one of their sons and the dad, Terry. Um, it grabbed so when it came up to the son, it was very friendly. It bowed its head. It was panting. It let the kid pet them. Uh, it was like it acted like a house dog, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
The kids even asked their parents. Have been reported by Terry and Gwen Sherman. Uh, the kids did ask them if they could keep the animal as a pet. And the second the Terry Sherman said, the father said, no, you cannot keep this animal as a pet. for obvious reasons. It enraged the wolf. The wolf got very, very mad. And then it turned around and it grabbed a nearby calf by the nose, trying to drag it out of the fenced-in area to mutilate it. It grabbed its nose, its neck, and the side, I believe, and it was trying to kill the calf. They believe because Terry Sherman told the kids that they can't keep the wolf as a pet.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And it's been reported that these wolves would come up to the kids and let the kids play with them, pet them. And the second the parents were showed up, the wolves would turn around and attack the calf.
That's crazy.
When
like,
that,
why?
yeah, it's so weird. Terry Sherman, and I believe there have been different reports where it was the son, and it was also, or it was a father, or it was Terry Sherman's father. But regardless, Terry Sherman began to beat the animal with a stick to make her release the calf, but that they were unsuccessful. When that failed, Sherman shot the animal with a .357 Magnum at point blank range directly into the wolf's, I believe, neck, face, and side. But still, the wolf held onto the calf. It didn't wince. It didn't blink. It got shot point blank multiple times in its neck and its side, and blood and fur was going everywhere. But the wolf did not react at all. And this
Holy
was
shit.
point blank, like 5 feet away.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Now that would be scary.
Yeah. After another shot, it released the calf, and it just stood there calmly staring at the men. At that point, the wolf turned around. It just stared at the Sherman boys, and after it was shot again, or after a few more shots, the animal simply turned around and trotted off. Blood and fur was covering the ground and the cow and the surrounding area, but the animal looked totally unbothered and totally fine. The men then followed the tracks of the animal for about a mile or so, but then the tracks suddenly ended and the animal had simply vanished. They could see the paw prints in the mud and the grass, but it just stopped randomly. When you see an animal that big, it doesn't just disappear.
Right.
Especially when it's injured, quote unquote. A
And
few weeks.
so
Go for it.
they think that these are the skinwalkers, or they think this is something separate. To me,
Well,
that kind of sounds like it must have to like a bird flew off.
I think it's a skinwalker, but at the
Yeah.
moment, I don't believe the family knew what that was.
Gotcha.
They just saw it
Okay.
was this big wolf that just disappeared.
Gotcha. Okay.
A few weeks later, when Gwen Sherman was in her car, pulling up to the ranch, she encountered a wolf that was so large its back was parallel with the top of her window. I
Shit.
believe it was a. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it was a truck. It was like a ranch car. It was a ranch.
What?
Yeah, it was a big car. And again, just assuming it was a truck because they do live in the middle of the mountains in Utah on a farm with animals and yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Its back was parallel with the top of her window. The large wolf was accompanied by a dog-like animal that she couldn't identify. In fact, it's widely speculated that many of the seen animals on the property, ranging from birds to dogs, are skinwalkers changing from form to spy on the residents. Um, I guess the bigger the skinwalker, the more advanced they are in their process of becoming it. I think, again, I'm not too sure about that. Um, that is a photograph taken by a ranch local. They believe it's a skinwalker. Um, it could very much be a coyote, but it could also be a skinwalker. I know it doesn't look big in the photos, but it was reported to be the size of a. I just completely lost my train of thought. It's reported to be really, really big, essentially bigger than a normal coyote. And if you've seen a coyote, they're not that big.
Yeah, no, they're not at all.
But when you look at the photo, it looks like one. But at the same time, when you look at it, there's like, to me, the back legs don't look like a wolf leg.
Yeah, something is definitely, to me it looks like kind of what like if bent over try to walk.
It does
Does
look
that
very
make
bent
sense?
over, yeah. When I saw
Yeah.
that photo, it very much reminded me of the wolves from like Twilight when they're like
Mm-hmm.
running to change into the wolves because the
Yes.
fur looks so short, you can almost see the muscles in the fur of the animal. But at the same time, it could have been just a really big coyote or a really small wolf that was dirty or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I
Definitely looks off. It doesn't look like a regular.
yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe it is like uh, a wolf breed that we don't know yet, or it may have been
Yeah.
a
Oh,
wolf mated with a
absolutely.
coyote or something, or a home dog, something like that.
Yeah. True.
The next part I'm going to talk about are Bigfoots, but I don't have any photos of the big. Look up a photo of a Bigfoot. Those are essentially the photos that came up at the
Right.
ranch. Over the next 2 years, I do also talk about a little bit about UFOs in this part. I just realized, and shadow people, I believe.
Oh, shadow people.
I think I forgot to like organize my notes, but you know. Over the next 2 years, the Shermans, as well as their neighbors, reported seeing a number of strange animals in the area. These include exotic, multicolored birds not native to the region and tall, dark beasts that resembled a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. On one occasion, the Shermans saw a strange hyena like creature attacking one of their horses, which they described as low to the ground, heavily muscled, weighing perhaps 200 pounds, with curly red hair and a bushy tail.
Why did they have to attack the though?
And they only ever attacked the animals. They never attack the humans. As far as I know, there have been no cases of the animals ever attacking a human on the property.
That's so crazy.
Right? Which it kind of fits into the role of maybe it is a group of wild animals because
Mm-hmm.
they're scared of humans and whatnot. But if they were
Yeah.
that scared after being shot so many times, why would they keep coming back?
Right.
Um,
That's weird.
as Mr. Sherman Terry approached the animal, it vanished before its eyes. Afterward, they checked on the horse and found numerous claw marks in its legs and on its torso area. A few months later, a neighbor reported seeing a smaller beast running across their property, similar to reported to the ones the Shermans reported of. The Shermans, like their neighbors, also saw strange lights and flying objects, including more than a dozen in one evening. More than a dozen different flying lights above their ranch in one evening. They're in the
Wow.
middle of nowhere, essentially.
There's no like
They're not near the city or
Air
anything.
Force or
There's a
like Army
fort.
base
There's
or
like a
anything.
army base, like a fort nearby, but it's like 4 or 5 miles away. And the way
And
they
there's no
described the
like
lights, um, it was like they described it as it not being like they're like it's no way it could be an airplane or a helicopter or anything. The
gotcha.
way the lights looked, the way they formed, it was too big to be a helicopter or a plane. It was too big to be. I don't even think drones were a thing back then. But
Right. Wow.
um, one of the many occasions that they spy these UFOs, they also experienced the death or disappearance of seven of their best cows. Four disappeared without a trace, and three more were found dead and partially mutilated. One of the dead. This part is gets a little gruesome. So,
So alert.
mm-hmm. Or mute the stream for like a minute, 2 minutes. One of the dead cows had a particular hole in the center of its left eyeball, but was otherwise untouched. Another was found with a similar hole in its left eye, and a 6-inch hole, about an inch deep, had been carved out of its rectum. The last cow to be killed
What?
and mutilated has been seen alive by the Sherman son just 5 minutes earlier. It had a 6-inch wide,
Holy.
18-inch deep hole cored out of its rectum that extended into
Oh.
the body cavity. So that is a fully grown cow that was seen perfectly. The son had seen it 5 minutes beforehand, perfectly fine. It was fine. Nothing happened to it. The cow was fine. Nothing was out of the normal or out of the ordinary. But within 5 minutes, but within 5 minutes, a 6-inch wide hole. It was 18
That
inch
is
deep, cored out of its rectum that extended into the body cavity.
Oh my god, that's
And the cow at that moment was dead. And if you've ever seen like an animal dying or whatever, it doesn't die that quickly, especially with that gruesome.
yeah,
You would hear it at least. There would be
yeah.
blood everywhere. There was no reported blood in the area.
Whoa, that's terrible.
And they did check and it was their cow, so it wasn't like somebody somehow pulled a cow off the farm, dropped another one, and nobody saw.
Gotcha.
It was the same cow. Um
Wow.
uh in all three cases, there was no trace of blood found, a chemical odor was apparent, and no evidence of predators, footprints, or tire tracks were anywhere within the immediate area. One of the cattle that disappeared once seemed to have been magically lifted from the snow. Its hoof prints led into a field, and then just simply stopped. So imagine like the stereotypical UFO coming up and lifting a cow into the air. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
apparently been happening very often on the farm.
Wow.
The ground was a litter with broken twigs and branches, and the tops of trees appeared to have been cut off cleanly, like a blade would. It was just cleanly cut off. Other strange events were also happening during these years. Pastures would unexplainably light up at night. The sound of heavy machinery could be heard that seemed to be operating under the earth. Poltergeist type activities were occurring such as times disappearing, only to reappear at later times, and strange disembodied voices, often speaking in unfamiliar language, were heard from above. Crop circles of flattened grass were often found on the ranch. For a long time, or quoted directly from Terry Sherman, for a long time we wondered what we were seeing if it was something to do with the top secret project, being we lived so close to a base. I don't really want to think about it. Uh, that is something Terry has said multiple times to news reports. When asked about
Wow.
it, he reported feeling very uncomfortable talking about it the second the question was asked. He would feel an uneasy feeling like something was watching him, that if he said anything about it, he would get in trouble or something bad would happen.
Wow.
Uh, the final straw occurred one evening in May of 1996 when Sherman was outside with three of his dogs. Um, Again, this part I didn't include photos of it. It is also kind of gory.
Don't
Um,
tell me they kill the dogs. Don't you do it.
it's not. I don't describe them killing the dogs, but it is assumed that the
Oh
dogs do
my
die.
god.
So mute the stream for like a minute again. Um, the final straw occurred one evening in May of 1996 when Sherman was outside with three of his dogs. When he noticed a blue orb darting around the field near the ranch house, he urged his dogs to go after it, and the dogs soon chased and barked after the orb as they followed it into some thick brush into the surrounding forest. Sherman
No.
heard them make three terrible yelps each, and when he called for them, they didn't respond.
No.
The next morning,
Sherman.
or no, it was one dog that went in first, and then the other two dogs were scared to go in, but they went in when they heard the first dog yelp. The
Oh
next morning,
no.
when Sherman went to look for the dogs, he found only three round, greasy lumps with what appeared to be a scorched spot. The dogs were never seen again after that. And
That's
leading up
sad.
to that moment, lots and lots of like kittens, cats were disappearing from the property. Chickens, all that type of stuff. Animals would randomly disappear. Scorched spots would be seen all around the farm, but nobody would ever see what happened to those animals. After about 2 years of these terrifying events, the family began to publicly speak out. The first claims about the strange events, about the strange claims about unusual events at the ranch, first appeared in the Salt Lake City, Utah Deseret News. Sorry, Deseret News, and later in the alternative weekly Las Vegas Mercury, as a series of articles by journalist George Knapp. George Knapp and co-author Com Keller subsequently authored a book in which they detail the earlier investigations and alleged UFO sightings in the Utah County region. The vanishing and mutilated cattle, large animals with piercing red eyes that were not injured when struck by bullets, invisible objects emitting destructive magnetic fields, crop circles, Bigfoot-like creatures, and poltergeist activity were the subject of these stories. The Shermans planned to sell the property, however, before they got the chance, Robert Bigelow, a multi-millionaire businessman, a believer in ufology, and a founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, offered to buy the property after he read about the events in the newspaper.
What is up with these people buying
Just you wait.
stupid shit like this?
So how much do you think this guy bought the property for?
Probably a lot.
Robert Bigelow, man on the screen, bought the ranch for $200,000 contingent on a non-disclosure agreement with the Shermans, who agreed to not talk about the events on the ranch. After
What?
that, so essentially, he said, "I'll give you $200,000 if you never talk about the ranch again," and they agreed.
And that's a lot of land.
That's 400. I believe I said 450 acres of land. Empty
Holy
land.
shit.
I believe they weren't able to grow any crops on that land because, again, desert, very fluctuating weather, and it's also very possessed.
But still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Robert Bigelow then began to establish a compound with high-tech sensing equipment, PhD level field investigators, scientists, and security detail, which guarded the property 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The investigators were tasked with collecting evidence, interviewing witnesses, and searching for explanations of the unexplainable. Its purpose with the research and advanced study of various fringe scientists and paranormal topics, including UFOs and cattle mutilation. With quote-unquote apparent success, the National Institute of Discovery Science was disbanded in 2004. So it succeeded in 2004 beforehand, but as 2004 hit, they disbanded the company after quote-unquote apparent success. So, and what they found, nobody knows. No one's allowed to talk about anybody who worked on the property during that. Sign an NDA so they cannot talk about it. Bigelow hired Terry Sherman, the father, to quote-unquote maintain the livestock that was going to be used as bait to lure in the cryptids. And that's the part that kind of surprised me because, yeah, he hired Terry Sherman to take care of the animals that they were going to be used as bait.
Why would he want to go there?
He was given, so Terry was given, I believe a paycheck for that on top of the $200,000 he received. I believe it was in direct cash.
Wow.
During his time working as a livestock hand, Terry Sherman noted that while the public was being told about guard dogs patrolling the property, the guard dogs were in fact just regular household dogs. They were used, apparently, as a way to sense anything strange or unusual before it happened. Each patrolling security officer would have a dog with them, and if the dog were to quote-unquote start acting weird, the guards were required to pee in a tube and personally take it by hand to a partner facility in Las Vegas for further testing.
Wait, what? Did you just say pee in a tube?
Yeah, so as soon as the dog started to act weird for whatever reason, each security officer had a dog with them, and it was like a normal household dog. If the dog started to act weird, you had to pee in a tube right away and leave the property, take it to a secured partner facility in Las Vegas, and drop it off there and stay there for further testing.
But wait, so are you peeing in the tube so they can test to make sure you...
To test to make sure if anything happened to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
What the
And no one knows what they were testing for. Like, even the people who peed in tubes, they said they would go to the facility, which they didn't know where it was, and they would hand it off. They would stay for testing, but nobody ever told them what they were being tested for.
Wow.
Right?
The fact that people just did it, though.
Well, they had to. And then I believe if they didn't buy, I believe they were, I don't know what, they were like in like deep shit if they didn't do that. Like, I didn't find any reports of like any of the guards like disappearing or whatever, like vanishing. But every single one of them did it. They all followed the rules.
Wow.
The guards on site would report incredibly weird happenings from everything between shadow men following them around in broad daylight to UFO lights, giant wolves, and even have marked and there are marked cases of cattle becoming hypnotized and disappearing. Again, if you want to hear more about the cattle, check out the That's Why We Drink podcast episode on the Skinwalker Ranch. M talks more about that. Then in the next several years, over $22 million were spent on the program created by Robert Bigelow, the NIDS program, which investigated reports of unidentified flying objects and was run by military intelligence officials Luis Elizondo, I believe, from the Pentagon. So a military professional from the government's Pentagon was working alongside Bigelow on this ranch. The $22 million that was spent on the program was from a quote unquote undisclosed buyer, but
22 million. Wow.
The shadowy program was largely funded by the request of Harry Reid, the Nevada Democrat who was the Senate majority leader at the time, and who had a long interest in space phenomena. He was also a longtime friend of Robert Bigelow. So out of nowhere, Harry Reid, the Nevada Democrat, coughed up $22 million to continue to have Luis Elizondo from the Pentagon and continue to report on the Skinwalker Ranch. And for some reason, him and Robert Bigelow were like best friends. And today, the Skinwalker Ranch is privately owned and it is almost impossible to step foot onto the property without coming face to face with fully armed security. AK-47s, rifles, snipers, the whole 9 yards. There are guard dogs on the property. There are cameras everywhere. And who would want to step foot on that property? I don't know.
But what the fuck are they hiding?
But yeah, incredibly hard to get photos of the property itself besides the gates. Nobody's allowed within a certain. I believe they not only bought the ranch but the surrounding land as well, so you can't like walk up right to the fence and take photos. But that is the Skinwalker Ranch. I'm sorry I like rushed through it. I didn't want it to last too long.
I think you were good.
It was about an hour and 30. So we both hit like an hour each.
Yeah.
Again, I try to touch more on the skinwalkers of the ranch. The whole legend of them. There's other stuff that happen: ghosts, demons, poltergeists, UFOs, Bigfoots, all of that. I personally believe it can all trace back to the curse that the Navajo people put on the area. But to each their own. You can believe in what you want.
You said there was a movie?
There is a movie on it, I believe. I think if you just type in Skinwalker Ranch, it should pop up.
That. Is it like a documentary?
There was a documentary and Walker Ranch. There was a documentary and a movie. There's also quote unquote 12-hour there are live streams of the ranch. It was released in 2013 called The Skinwalker Ranch. It's on IMDb, but it only has like 5 point something stars out of 10. Obviously. There are books on it. There are multiple news reports on it. And yeah.
That's crazy.
Podcast episodes, all that.
Wow.
Terrifying.
What a freaking episode.
Crazy, right? And yes, Tater, there is a TV show on the History Channel about it.
Like a series?
Yes.
Or like an episode of
a series.
What the freak?
Very like crazy, isn't it?
That is insane. And it's scary.
Yeah.
And I will not be going.
It is very like when you think about it, it's like it makes you wonder what was on the ranch and why. And I think it was 2004. I said 2004 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Why they completely pulled out of it and why it's still guarded to this point. Like it's guarded now,
Yeah.
but as far as I know, they're not doing research anymore. The area in itself is still bought. It's privately owned and it's still heavily guarded.
So it's guarded, but there's basically supposedly nobody in there, just the
Yes.
guard.
Yeah. As
Sweet.
far as it's kind of like Area 51, where you can't really see
Right.
past into it from the outside. It just looks like a broken down ranch house. But like that much land, why isn't it being used? What's there?
Yeah, it seems like a waste. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, that's crazy.
isn't it?
Woo! Chills. Literal.
I know
That
I like
shit.
messed up on some of that information. Again, I'm sorry, not an expert. I wanted to get through it as quick as I can. I stuttered a lot, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And don't have to rush yourself.
I'm very bad at
Really?
that.
Yeah, I am. Get it. Oh,
Um,
yeah, this on YouTube, there's a 12-hour UFO Skinwalker ranch. What?
you were cutting
Oh,
out.
that's what you guys are talking about.
I think I didn't look into many of the videos.
But see, here's the thing. How are they getting this live footage?
I don't know.
So
It's enough
crazy.
to make you wonder why this random ass millionaire wanted to buy it out. Why somebody, um, why the government would send approves. Like when you're working the Pentagon, you can't just leave to work on other stuff. You have to get approved. So why the
Yeah.
Pentagon approved this guy to go out there and work there and study there, and why a local politician spent $22 million
Whew.
to fund that program, and why all of a sudden that program pulled out. Like there's like I haven't found any information on why that program ended, but in I believe it was like 2003 or something, they pulled out, but they continued to pay the guards there.
Wow.
Very spooky.
That's, yeah, that's crazy. Yikes.
Big
Out there.
yikes.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun though.
That was fun. I liked it.
And I guess that's that on that. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Mama? Justin, you were
No?
literally coming in as we were ending.
He's been sending me night invites, but he's banned.
I mean, it's kind of easy to figure out why someone would pay 200K for 480 acres of land, but the rest is easy. It's like I don't know how much the Shermans paid for the land, but it was very sudden. And the weird part about it is that Bigelow came up and he's like, "You have to sign this NDA. You cannot talk about it, but you will get 200,000 in cash if you leave. Oh, and also you have to work on here for me, but you're not allowed to talk about." Which makes you wonder why how Sherman, the dad, was able to talk about it
Right.
after the
This,
fact.
so all of it is just suspicious. And then just like all different paranormal type things that happen
Yeah.
too.
It's very eerie. There's again more information about it. There is this,
Yeah.
and then Christine mentioned it. I forgot what the podcast is called, but they have multiple hour plus long episodes talking about this ranch in itself. I could go so far
Really?
in, yeah, I could go so far into the Skinwalker Ranch, but like I barely scraped the surface, like barely.
I could see that. My God. Sorry about that. Did you
Mhm.
hear that?
Yes, I did.
Um, yeah, I definitely am gonna look more into that because that's
Yeah.
crazy. I want the videos. I wonder why I saw that there was like a movie too,
Yeah.
and it says based on true story. It talks about. It said that it was like something to do with missing child or something.
For the ranch?
Mm-hmm.
I did not
Says
see that.
Skinwalker Ranch. It was on IMDb.
Crazy.
Yeah, we might have to watch that if we can figure out what it's on.
We can do a community night and
Movie
watch these.
night.
Yeah. Alright, so you watch them during the day though. I have to take my dog out now. I'm kind of scared.
Oh, jeez. We always watch scary movies at night.
I know, but I told you for some reason this freaks me out to the next level. There's
Yeah.
something about it that's just eerie. The whole Skinwalker thing is creepy.
Yeah.
I think it's because it goes so far back. Like we talk about ghosts and stuff, and like there's evidence on that. But
Yeah.
Skinwalkers go back for generations to as far as we know, as early as when humans were like started popping up. So it's like for them being around for as long as they have been, and us having zero to no actual evidence of them
Yeah.
is like, is it really folklore or is it something that is just so good at avoiding us?
Well, and like the fact, like, I had no idea that these were people that became skinwalkers
Mm-hmm.
until today. Like,
They were like normal like shamans who turned to the dark side and they did some really fucked up stuff and they continue to roll with that. And then
yeah, that part does make it way more scary for me.
yeah, it was just, and nobody really knows how or why they turned to the dark side. If it was outside influence or if it's just them by their nature doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, there's a lot of like modern media uh relation with it. You can there it's in movies, it's related to other things, and I think I will do. I think one of us might cover. I might do it. The Wendigos compared to that. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
talk more on Skinwalkers. Who knows?
Yeah. I loved this. This was so fun.
This is very fun. I love the paranormal stuff like this. It scares me. Um, yeah.
So, yeah. So, I guess we'll wrap it up.
So we're wrapping it up. Thank you guys for hanging out. Fatcorn, thank you for the resub. Lou, thank you for giving Yerin a sub. Ames, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you so much for the raid. Swag, thank you for the follow. And Tater, thank you so much for the 335 bits. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys have any other like topic ideas you want us to cover, it could be a story, it can be like a general topic. There is a Google Forms doc on my Discord. Check that out.
Yes.
Please
Use it.
submit. Yeah, please submit. We have a few topics that we can cover later on. Already like submitted, which is really cool. I
And
do have a
we
YouTube channel.
totally not to, he's not allowed to submit butt drugs or the red house.
Yeah, Loot. No more butt drugs and no more red houses. I think I still have. Let me see if I still have. I have to make this a command. But this is a link to my YouTube channel. It is the What's This a Podcast YouTube channel where I upload podcast episodes, and I will upload this one
Yeah,
within the next few
subscribe.
days. Please subscribe.
Subscribe
Yeah.
and like.
Thank you guys for hanging out. I do believe we are gonna raid Turbo is on, so I think we can raid him.
Sounds
If you
good.
do you wanna plug any of your social media, Mama?
No, you
Tater,
guys
thank
know
you
where
for
to find
subscribing to
me.
the channel. I just got a notification for that. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't see that pop up.
For the YouTube channel.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Let's go. Um, yeah, no, I'm here, Mama Marcus.
It cut out, but Mama Marcus on Twitch. Mama underscore Marcus on Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Every
do.
time you
I
go
have
to
a.
plug yourself, it just cuts you out.
It's because it knows I hate to do it. So like, we'll just.
That
I
is
just.
Mama Marcus's Twitch. Check her out. Uh,
I'm an okay streamer.
she's a great
We have.
streamer.
We have some fun.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any
Yes.
more ideas or topic ideas for the podcast or improvement ways we can improve, whatever, we're still so new to this. If you want,
I was gonna say, let us know what you think we're doing good and what you think we're doing, because
yeah, we would love
it'll help.
the advice. Um, it's on our Discord. Please check that out. Um, if you also want specific people to guest, you can also submit their usernames through that.
Yeah,
Uh, anything
we
else?
love guests. Nope, that's
Oh,
it.
also, I will upload this to YouTube, and I'm probably going to keep all this in the YouTube video because I'm not going to edit anything out. If you want to see the links we used, possibly even our notes that we have made from those links, it will be in the description of the YouTube video, as well as all of our social media. So please make sure to check that out. Um, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. We love you. Have a great night. And
Yes.
don't invite random people
Bye.
into your houses. And sunflowers,
Yeah.
get rid of demons. That is all. Love you.
Sunflowers and ghosts like to take vacations too.